southbound Eisenhower will close to 10 tonight for weekend work. Reopen Monday morning. South side 87th Street is shut down at King Drive due to a crash. Rolling Meadows Golf Road is closed at the Adams Tollway with construction. There's road work on 94 Northwest Indiana in both directions between 20 and the Indiana Toll Road on the right lane. That's scheduled to clear at 2 this afternoon. The Indiana Toll Road has the usual construction delays. Traffic is a service of TrueCar. If you're ready to buy a new car, download the TrueCar app. Just configure the new car you want, see what others paid for it, and lock in guaranteed savings from TrueCar certified dealers. It's that easy. Save time and save money. Download the TrueCar app today. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Turning cloudy today with late afternoon rain and a thunderstorm with a high 66. Rain in the evening, then clouds breaking tonight, low 40. Clouds and sun tomorrow, windy and cooler with a high 52. Clear tomorrow night with a low of 36. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 50 at O'Hare, 53 along the lakefront. Next news update coming at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Power Trading Radio. Heard Sundays at 2 p.m. Brought to you each week by Online Trading Academy.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, Amy, Paul Ryan came out yesterday after the 45-minute meeting with Donald Trump and said Donald Trump is warm, he's genuine, and he's a good cuddler.
So they snuggled and watched beaches, just like I thought that they would. Now, their meeting lasted, you know what I describe it as? The most public-private meeting of our time. But it lasted, an hour and a half, and Paul Ryan slipped out the side door, and he had a stack of papers because, he's very well studied on entitlement programs, and apparently, allegedly, according to NBC, that's what they talked about, entitlement programs, immigration, and his ban on Muslims. Paul Ryan was trying to get him to soften his stance on that.
Well, Paul Ryan wasn't obtuse about it. He just wanted to relitigate all of the topics they discussed in a relatively short period of time before the media, which is smart in the infancy of their budding romance. Here's Paul Ryan kind of giving a fairly quick summary that he repeated about 4 times to questions from the press.
I think we had a very encouraging meeting. Look, it's no secret that Donald Trump and I have had our differences. We talked about those differences today. That's common knowledge. The question is, what is that we need to do to unify the Republican Party and all strains of conservative wings in the party? We had a very good and encouraging, productive conversation on just how to do that. It was important that we discussed our differences that we have, but it was also important that we discussed the core principles that tie us all together. Principles like the Constitution, the separation of powers, the fact that we have an executive that is going way beyond the boundaries of the Constitution, and how it's important to us that we restore Article 1 of the Constitution. It's the principle of self-government. We talked about life and how strongly we feel about this core principle. We talked about the Supreme Court and things like this. I was very encouraged with what I heard from Donald Trump today. I do believe that we are now planting the seeds to get ourselves unified, to bridge the gaps and differences.
And so were you encouraged by what you heard from Paul Ryan in terms of his summation of the meeting? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 646-36, turnkey.pro, text line. Were you? Why are you laughing? Well, you have to turn your microphone on so our friends can hear you.
They're presenting a united front, but there's still no endorsement. I feel like this is as if Donald Trump is going to get married, but he yet needs the blessing of Paul Ryan before he can get into this union of marriage.
You have to date before you get married.
Right. Like, don't buy the cow if you can get the milk for free. I feel like he's trying to. Do you like that one?
No, I don't. No. I don't like thinking of Paul Ryan and Donald Trump and a romantic embrace. So I'm going to stop thinking about that now.
I think it's interesting. There's clearly some hesitation on Paul Ryan's part. I think, perhaps Trump's part, although he did say, Trump did reiterate what he had said in advance of the meeting, which is that he wants Paul Ryan to chair the convention.
Right.
And I think Paul Ryan came out and he's positive about it. Donald Trump was affable and warm and genuine, according to Paul Ryan in person, to no one's surprise. It should come as no surprise that there was no acrimony at the meeting or coming out of the meeting.
Nobody flipped any tables over and stormed out.
But I think, the question for Paul Ryan and others is, can Donald Trump hold up over the long haul or even the medium haul? What is it that's going to happen between now and, say, the convention in July that Donald Trump is going to do to kind of reposition himself for the general election, which he is doing to some extent, as well as to unify the party?
Isn't he changing his stance on allowing Muslims? Or his, what he said before?
He's just presenting it in a different way. He's essentially saying it's a temporary ban, and I want the temporary ban to end as soon as possible, and that's why I'm going to have Rudy Giuliani head up this commission to study the issue and make recommendations so that we can feel safe and knowledgeable about who's coming into this country, and then I can lift the temporary ban. That's kind of his new, more textured explanation for his position.
Okay, but remember how upset Paul Ryan was a few months ago when he proposed this ban? Let me take you back in the time machine.
This is not conservatism. What was proposed yesterday is not what this party stands for, and more importantly, it's not what this country stands for.
Right, and that was Trump's initial,
when he announced it. That was Paul Ryan. The next day, and other conservatives were very upset at his proposal.
Yes, but here's the thing with Trump. You have to put everything in context, because what he said in terms of rolling out this proposal to temporarily ban Muslims from entering this country, and if you remember when he first said it, the temporary wasn't really a part of it, but even granting him the temporary, it was a temporary ban on Muslims, kind of off the cuff, without explanation.
Well, he read it from a piece of paper. I mean, it wasn't completely off the cuff. You remember that? Well, the first time he grabbed a piece of paper and read a statement.
Yeah, but just because you jot some notes on the back of an envelope doesn't mean you prepared it.
Donald J. Trump, remember that?
Yeah.
Promise to not let in.
And so that's a very different tone, and frankly, very different in terms of detail or lack thereof than what Trump is saying today, for instance. And I think, frankly, if Trump continues to provide additional context to some of those controversial positions like the temporary ban, then it will probably help to get Paul Ryan where he needs to be to feel comfortable to chair the convention and to support Trump and to enlist others to do the same.
Well, the third person in the room was Priebus, and he described the meeting such as,
I think we had a very encouraging meeting. Look, it's no secret
that Reince Priebus doing his Paul Ryan impersonation?
No, this is what he meant to say.
There's never 100% unanimity in anything. Oh, like Reagan said, my 80% friend is not my 20% enemy. We believe that.
And he said that during the meeting, they both agreed to meet again and to keep this relationship growing.
Yeah.
To have it budding. But Donald Trump last night, he described the meeting. He said it was nice, cordial. He sees an endorsement down the road.
I don't mind going through a little bit of a slow process. It's a very big subject. I mean, we have a lot of things. And I think for the most part, we agree on a lot of different items, and we're getting there.
We're getting there.
One of the things, if I'm in Paul Ryan's shoes and I see Trump's positions evolving, to be generous, some evolving in a positive direction, others I would suggest evolving in a direction away from conservative market principles, then I want to see a little bit more and hear a little bit more about what kind of candidate Trump is going to be in a general election matchup with Hillary. And I think that's right. I think they did a nice job, both of them, tamping down the media hysteria by not fueling it. Mm-hmm. And so we're not going to hang on every exchange that Trump and Ryan have or every meeting they conduct. And this kind of puts it back burner, and they work it out mostly behind closed doors. And at some point, barring something unforeseen or inopportune, this goes away as they consolidate and the convention, is upon us in July.
You know how I know that the Republican establishment is warming up to Donald Trump? Guess who Donald Trump had a phone conversation with yesterday? Senator Lindsey Graham. They talked on the phone. They were supposed to meet, but something happened. I don't know exactly what happened, but they spoke on the phone.
Well, this is politics. So you're going, and as I said.
And you know how this works. I don't, so.
It's Trump's responsibility to unify the party. He knows it. I mean, this is where he needs to exhibit leadership, and this is what he says is his forte. So
do you think Paul Ryan told him to call Senator Lindsey Graham?
This is,
and then he met with Baker too.
Yeah, this is a part of going to the Hill and going to party leaders from both chambers as well as party leaders in the governor's mansions at the state level, and making your case and smoothing over hard feelings from the primary. That's largely Trump's responsibility. And then the other side has to be open to the conversation. And I think most of them are going to be, which is what you're seeing play out.
I'd love to hear from Trump supporters who are upset that he even met with Paul Ryan, because they want the ultimate outsider. They want somebody who's not inside the Beltway. And then for him to go inside the Beltway and literally kiss the rings of Paul Ryan, it just seems against what they want him to be.
Yeah, I think...
one of the Trump supporters said that to me yesterday. We got a huge argument.
Well, outside the Beltway isn't a physical position. It's a state of mind. You can go talk to an elected official, like, say, the Speaker of the House, who is President of the United States, you're going to want to work with and going to need to work with to move an agenda, but not change who you are. Just because I talk to Paul Ryan doesn't mean I turn into Paul Ryan. Just because Paul Ryan talks to Donald Trump doesn't mean he turns into Donald Trump. Some of the way that we characterize this inside-outside political stuff is really silly. Greg and Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys, two quick real comments and a question for you to pick up on a number of points you put on the table. I think America better get used to the lack of specificity when Trump speaks overall, because that's just the way he is. He assembles team players around him. They formalize position. He sets a vision. That's one style of leadership. The second point is this. It would have pleased me to no end, given the way Ryan and Boehner have treated him, if he would have walked out and said, I've requested his resignation, and kicked him out the door. And then the last point, the question is this. Why is it that a businessman is not seen as being responsive to market forces? When I look at all of this critique of him as being conservative, I see Trump is ultimately going to be the conservative, where Ryan and Boehner and all these other guys have not been. Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Greg. Interesting point. I don't know. That's a very generous interpretation of doing 180s on positions, is to say you're responding to market forces. Responding to market forces means that you're an empty vessel, and that you're going to go wherever 50% plus one of the populace is at any given time. That doesn't inspire much confidence, at least for me. Ann on the north side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, good morning. I hate it off that because it wasn't transparent. I don't like things behind closed doors, and if you're starting it out like that, that's a no-no for me. And also that Paul Ryan, he didn't act very presidential if he's planning on 220, whatever it is. I don't think that they should have. I don't care about Paul Ryan, the Republican Party. It's a country we care about, and Hillary Clinton. I believe that Bill Clinton doesn't want to go to the White House. Hillary Clinton, they should lock the doors on her. It's Hillary Clinton that they should be asking the questions, but not behind closed doors. I don't like that they had Donald Trump behind closed doors.
Thanks for the call, Ann. Thanks, Ann. Appreciate it.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Trump's butler with the candlestick in the billiard room?
Yeah, his feelings for President Obama not exactly the same as Paul Ryan's initial feelings for Donald Trump.
Oh, we'll have that coming up. But first, your forecast for this Friday and for your weekend. Today, some sun, then clouds, rain, and a thunderstorm late this afternoon, a high of 66 degrees. Then the temperature drops. We're going to have on Saturday times of cloud and sun. It'll be windy, a lot cooler, a high of 52 if we're lucky. And on Sunday, breezy and cool with some sun and clouds. A little bit warmer, a high in the mid-50s. Let's get the travel times for this Get Out of Town Friday. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. On this Friday, we still have some road work on Gulf Road right under the Adams Tollway. Gulf is closed there until 6 this morning. South side, there's a closure of 87th at King Drive due to a crash. The expressways look pretty good right now. No delays to report on the Edens or the Kennedy. The express lanes have opened inbound on the Kennedy. The Eisenhower is fine. Same goes for the Stevenson, even the Ryan. Bishop Ford. The Illinois tollways look good. There's some road work still on westbound I-90, the Adams Tollway, Arlington Heights Road to 53. Now only one left lane is closed, and that's till 6 a.m. It had been 2. I-94 has some road construction, but no delays reported yet. The Indiana Toll Road has slowdowns both ways between the Portage exit, State Road 49, and also east of 421. Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Hi, I'm Lex Howard, CEO of Balance of Nature. Statistics show that most people will listen to this commercial 7 times before they finally purchase Balance of Nature. Don't be a statistic. Take action to determine your future.
I just have to tell you, I love Balance of Nature. I've been telling everybody about it. I can't believe how good I feel. Got my husband taking them now, and he's trying to get his mom to take them, because rarely do I take something where I feel a difference. If I'm just taking vitamin D or my multivitamin, I don't really feel a difference. But when I started taking these, I feel a difference. And I said, I can't tell you how good I feel.
Begin giving your body the fruits and vegetables it needs every day. Accept and complete Dr. Howard's 120-day health challenge to earn a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
We've all heard commercials where they chatter about how large their inventory is, how big their discounts are. Well, this is where the zinc meets your metal. Gatto Industrial Platers on Roosevelt Road in Chicago is home to North America's largest plating line. They can handle parts up to 27 feet long, weighing up to 8,000 pounds, including a production rack and barrel zinc plating line that can process up to 300 tons of parts each and every day. But Gatto Platers can also handle zinc plating of a small box of screws and all in between, with 24 to 48-hour turnaround service and a fleet of trucks all over Chicagoland. As their owner George says, Gatto is big, we're good, and we're easy to work with. Learn why George says what he says at GattoPlaters.com. That's G-A-T-T-O Platers.com. Or call George at 800-290-1223. Gatto Platers, proud to sponsor AM 560's Feed the Children program. Find them online at GattoPlaters.com.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, you remember Tony Senecal? He's Trump's longtime butler, now in-house historian.
Wait a minute.
At Mar-a-Lago. In-house historian at Mar-a-Lago. Anthony Senecal, Tony Senecal. You can call him Tony.
Wait. You have an in-house historian?
I do, but Trump does as well. Trump's is Tony Senecal. Mine is someone else.
Okay. Yours is Jeeves, right?
Yeah, Mark. This is at Mar-a-Lago in
You've been there,
West
right?
Palm. I have.
Is it a huge estate?
Thank God I didn't run into Tony Senecal after what he said.
Tony Senecal's in a bit of hot water this morning, right?
Well, he first bubbled up, and we talked about him. We played clips when he came to the defense of Trump, and he's somebody who's been around Trump for a couple of decades.
Oh, that's
and he had
right.
a lot of nice things to say about working for Trump, giving you kind of a first-person perspective, someone who interacts with Trump regularly.
The man was born on Flag Day. He's a very patriotic person. Excuse me, and he wants what's best for this country.
Well, breaking news this morning, Secret Service is now investigating Tony. And Dan, tell us why.
Well,
what did Tonester do?
Well, it turns out he has some colorful things on his Facebook page that he's written about Hillary Clinton, but more importantly, about President Obama, that made it past the trending topics curator that normally deletes this sort of thing. He refers to Hillary Clinton as a lying, deceiving, see you next Tuesday. He said that Ferguson, Missouri should be carpet bombed.
Oh, my gosh.
He also said that that sleazy Bastardo Zero is trying to outmaneuver Congress again. If the truth be known, this person, so he didn't use the word person, needs to be hung for treason.
That's why Secret Service is investigating. Okay.
Yeah. And
can't make threats against a sitting president.
He says he's actually hung for treason a couple times. Also, in June of last year, he ranted about, I'm quoting Tony Senecal, Negroes.
Oh, no, just, okay.
You keep listening to idiots like Al Sharpless, Ezekiel Cummings, and Zero, and you folks ain't never going to get nowhere. Yeah.
It's not grammatically correct.
That's the least of his problems.
Yeah.
That is the least of his problems.
So what's going to happen to him? I mean, I know that.
and to be.
What's Trump going to do to him?
Well, the Trump campaign has responded. They issued a statement saying they, quote, totally and completely disavow the horrible statements made by him, meaning Tony Senecal, regarding the president. So they have quickly disassociated themselves from Mr. Senecal and his comments.
Is he going to lose his job as the historian, Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because I haven't seen that. That's what I'm looking to see when the next shoe is going to drop. Is he going to be suspended? Is he going to have to go into a room with crayons and construction paper for a little bit?
I think he's also kind of lost his post as the official White House biographer for President Trump. But yeah, so Tony Senecal needs to get it together. Or Secret Service is going to help him get it together.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I know you hear me talk about Maxson Shooter Supply and Indoor Range and how they're Illinois' first NSSF 5-star range. Now, I want to talk directly to the ladies and the men who want to introduce your lady to firearms and shooting. Maybe you're new to the sport but worry that as a woman you won't be taken seriously. Ladies' Day at Maxson is Sunday, May 15th. It's the perfect opportunity for ladies to discover all about the sport of shooting, firearm training, safety, and more. Guys, you're welcome too, whether you're already familiar with firearms or not. Maxson provides a welcoming, clean environment where ladies can attend a variety of classes, including basic firearm safety, safe firearm storage, and concealed carry tips. There are highly qualified instructors to answer your questions and make you feel at home on the range. Visit Maxson's on Ladies' Day, Sunday, May 15th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. For range specials, free seminars, and more. For details, visit maxonshooters.com. That's MAXON shooters.com.
Hey, if you're looking to learn how to enhance your credit and obtain invaluable home buying tips, then you need to attend David Hochberg's Credit Enhancement and Home Buying Seminar May 18th at Zany's Comedy Club in beautiful St. Charles. You should attend if you're credit challenged, if you file bankruptcy, experienced a foreclosure or short sale, and would like to purchase a home. If you'd like to learn proven and effective methods to secure the lowest interest rate when purchasing or refinancing a home, and you should attend if you're tired of not being able to get your groove on living in your parents' basement. To register for David's free credit enhancement and home buying seminar, May 18th at Zany's Comedy Club in St. Charles, here's what you do. Go to pearldavid.com or, call this number 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
You will be made to care. We told you it was going to happen. Passive tolerance, not enough. The Obama administration dictating to schools from pre-K through post-secondary, you shall reconfigure your bathrooms. That's at 5:38.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Partly cloudy and 52 degrees, and the Obama administration is telling public schools they must allow transgendered students to use bathrooms and locker rooms consistent with their gender identity. It is only a directive in what's being called formal guidance being sent to school districts by the Departments of Education and Justice. The letter, however, does not impose any new legal requirement or framework. It's merely meant as guidance, according to the feds, to clarify what the White House sees as school districts' obligations to provide students with a non-discriminatory environment. There is a veiled threat of the loss of federal dollars. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the latest violence in Iraq that killed 13 and wounded 15 at a coffee shop north of Baghdad. The Navy says it has fired the commander of a ship that accidentally entered Iranian territorial waters in January. Navy releasing a statement saying it has relieved Commander Eric Rash of duties due to a loss of confidence in his ability to command. House Speaker Paul Ryan and Donald Trump finding some common ground. Trump telling Fox News,
I thought it was a great meeting. We discussed a lot of things, a lot of very important things, and I thought it was really a very, very good meeting. I think Paul felt the same way, and everybody else did also.
The likely Republican nominee and Ryan sat down yesterday to talk about party unity.
We had a very encouraging meeting. Look, it's no secret that Donald Trump and I have had our differences. We talked about those differences today. The question is, what is that we need to do to unify the Republican Party?
Meantime, Ryan says he's happy to remain as chairman of the RNC in July as long as Trump wants him there. Friday the 13th is a day that sparks the attention of the superstitious and Amy Jacobson. While most people find it harmless, Dr. Scott B. with the Cleveland Clinic says some folks are really bothered by it.
Maybe you're not going to take a flight on Friday the 13th, but maybe you could go out to dinner or something like that, or go to work. A lot of people stay home from work on that day. I'd encourage everybody to go to work on Friday the 13th.
Dr. B. says for some, such as those who struggle with obsessive-compulsive disorder, the fear of the number 13 is very real. A man suspected of killing 3 is dead following an 11-hour police standoff on Chicago's South Side. Chicago Public Schools bracing for deeper cutting. Principals have been warned the school budget could be reduced by over 20% for the upcoming fiscal year. In Illinois, judge has tentatively set a trial date well before the November general election in a workplace retaliation suit against Democratic U.S. Senate candidate Tammy Duckworth. And a principal in a suburban Chicago high school says Supreme Court nominee Merrick Garland will address this year's seniors at the high school where he graduated from in 1970. It's an unusual move as the Supreme Court nominees normally refrain from public speaking between nomination and confirmation. Principal Jason Ness of Skokie's Niles West High School says he personally picked up the phone and offered Garland the opportunity to speak to grads on May 29, and Garland accepted. Chicago sports, baseball off last night. Cubs and Pirates this afternoon. Sox and Yankees later on this evening. The news, a service of TrueCar. Save time and money. Download TrueCar's mobile app. Configure the new car you want. See what others paid for it and get guaranteed savings. On average, over $3,000 off MSRP. Save time, money. Download the TrueCar app today. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The average Republican voter out there right now is looking for an outsider who will blow the whole damn thing up.
The Joe Walsh Show.
I don't want somebody who comes from Washington. I don't want somebody to get along with Democrats, not this year. I want the whole system blown up. That's why Trump, or that's why Cruz.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This year, that's where Republican voters are at.
Here Maps. Hit the open road with free offline turn-by-turn guidance that works anywhere. Get it for your phone at here.com/offline.
FlexExecs is a talent recruiting firm that for almost 3 decades has helped their clients become more competitive by identifying great talent. Finding the right people to drive your business results is critical. Flex Talent Finder customizes the recruiting process to meet your unique business needs for full-time positions. Flex Exec's U.S.-based recruiters work to find people that not only meet your technical needs, but fit your company culture. They can handle one position or 100 at a cost well below traditional search. Flex identifies the people best for you. Their clients rave about the level of talent, fast results, and ease of doing business. Connect online at flex2016.com or call 630-655-0563 and ask for Chris Swanson or Karen Murphy. That number, 630-655-0563 or online at flex2016.com. Flex Execs, proud to be a sponsor of Dan and Amy's Business Tour. Flex Execs online at flex2016.com. Flex2016.com. Flex Execs, moving business at the speed of trust.
537. In our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike and Lombard. There's a crash 53 at North Avenue. Rolling Meadows Golf Road is closed at I-90 for construction till 6 this morning. It's all clear on the Edens right now. Kennedy as well. The express lane's now open inbound. The Eisenhower's fine, so is the Stevenson. The Ryan, a little heavy approaching downtown. And outbound, there's some debris near 18th Street blocking 2 right lanes. Bishop Ford has a 5-minute delay from 111th to the Rhine. Indiana Toll Road has construction delays in both directions between the Portage exit and State Road 49 and east of 421. Traffic as a service of GoToMeeting. Be a meeting MVP. GoToMeeting is the online meeting tool that lets you easily collaborate and present from anywhere with one click. You always put on your best performance. Step up your meeting game and start your free trial at GoToMeeting.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Some sun this morning, and then rain and a thunderstorm late this afternoon, high 66. Evening rains and chilly, low of 40 overnight. 51 right now. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella. Heard each and every Sunday at 8 a.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, it's Friday the 13th, and
Stop.
Amy is over there walking under ladders and breaking mirrors.
Oh, I have bubble wrap on me. I drive to work with my hazards on every Friday the 13th. I'm very superstitious.
What is driving to work with your hazards on?
Because I don't want anybody around me. Don't even think about coming near me. Because it's a dangerous day. It's Friday the 13th. Something bad always happens on Friday the 13th.
You know, like one of those movies comes out. Thank God that series is over.
My cat's going to kill me tonight when I'm sleeping.
Well, it can't. It doesn't have claws anymore.
Well, he'll use his jaw. Oh, real quickly, the cat. Surgery didn't go well. The vet called and said, you're picking her up today. I was supposed to pick her up on Sunday, but nobody can control her. And they said her stress level is very high, unlike anything they've ever seen. They're not doing that post-day.
Possessed.
They're not doing the post-day laser cooling down because they don't want to stress her out even more. And he told me that the surgery didn't go well, and they had to put stitches in. But stitches that are edible, so in 10 days she can take them out herself because they don't need to see her again. He did not like my cat. And so we'll see what she looks like today when I pick her up after the show. And I'll tweet out some pictures. And you know what? All those people who called, maybe they were right, and we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you what.
I'm going to be cutting up newspaper here because the kitty litter I have to make her has to be a flat pan with newspaper clippings, like, cut up newspaper because she can't be on regular kitty litter.
She can't be on regular kitty litter. Yeah.
And she has to be in a room for 10 days with a cone. What did you say?
I remember when I had a transition to the soft kitty litter. You know I'm a furry, right? Yeah.
Then you take out the drawers and the dressers and put kitty litter in there.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
It's a community.
Seriously?
Anyway.
Well, one thing you can do is just take her right from the vet to the taxidermist. Just be done.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, yesterday they couldn't get her into surgery, so they had to throw the equivalent of a net, like the nets they use in the jungle. I'm not kidding you, to get her down, and then they shot her in the butt with
cat.
a dart.
Well, they used a tranquilizer gun.
Well, I don't know if it was a tranquilizer gun, but they had a tranquilizer, and they had the whole staff had to hold her down while they put something in her rear to help calm her down, then to get her into surgery. Yeah. Wait, she'll be
Every
visiting
Saturday
you, Dan.
night for me. How big is this cat?
She's about 20 pounds. She's huge. She's got a bit of a weight problem.
You have a bizarre
And I
private
have,
life.
But you know what? Her claws, I was able to save them, and I'm making you a necklace.
Oh, nice.
A cat claw necklace. I think it'll look good with all your crosses and your, Mr. T starter kit you got going on there.
Yeah, my first kill.
So just wait. Too bad it's not April. I could have given it to you for your birthday.
Yeah.
I'll think of some holiday.
You got one other cat left, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's the outdoor cat.
she's
Kills-
next. We're
Oh,
getting.
no.
Oh no, we're gonna start getting calls from all the people that are angry with you for getting your cat declawed.
Cat calls.
I feel them closing in on me.
Yeah, it's okay.
You can sense it.
Yeah.
They're out there. This story, Mike Scott reporting at the bottom of the hour, and we mentioned it. Psychology is fixed, but biology has to adjust. For the last decade, as David French accounts in National Review, the American public has been told that sexual orientation is a fixed, immutable characteristic like skin color. Now we're told that gender identity is much the same. And as such, the Obama regime has issued a letter with
a directive, they're calling it.
Yes,
And it's this morning.
a directive.
They're
yes.
issuing a
An
directive.
edict.
And yes.
It's not the force of law, but it's a letter, a directive, an edict that includes a 25-page document describing, quote-unquote, emerging practices that are in place in many schools around the country, which include installing privacy curtains or allowing students to change in bathroom stalls in addition to the gender-neutral bathrooms, or just the kind of open season, you go wherever you feel you identify.
So
this is now becoming national policy because why wait for school districts, state legislatures, or even Congress to act in this area? We're just going to litigate the matter with the state of North Carolina, and then we're going to continue to prosecute the case through essentially federal government bullying. Interesting. Telling schools what they must do, or, kind of you're going to be next
threat.
up.
No, it's a threat. I mean, they're forcing public schools and public universities to retrofit their locker rooms to the tune of millions of dollars. I don't know who's paying for it, and I don't know where our priorities are as a country. Don't we have ISIS to fight? I mean, can't we focus on the Zika virus or something else besides retrofitting bathrooms?
Well, and
for
just
what, to 5 or 10 people? I mean, I know. I hope I'm not sounding racist or transgenderist or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
but
something
this
is.
has got to stop. This is ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, and you're right to say, even though this doesn't have force of law, just like the FBI doesn't do security inquiries, they do investigations of a criminal nature, thus the name of the organization. The federal government doesn't do anything from a suggestive, I have an idea perspective. They do things at the point of a gun. And that's essentially where this is going. And all they have to do is say, oh, okay, public school district, look what we did in Palatine 211, where, you don't do it, federal funds are going to go away. Look what we're doing to the state of North Carolina. So you're next up. You're next in Loretta Lynch's crosshairs if you don't follow our emerging practices as so documented.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. I'm just glad our school doesn't have locker rooms. So we don't have to have another bake sale to raise money to retrofit rooms.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what your school does have, that anti-Catholic, Catholic bigoted school that you go to.
Oh, right, all right.
That's Blaine Elementary in the
Yes.
city of Chicago. I'll tell you what Blaine has with
What?
the rest of CPS. They got PGPs.
What's a PGP?
PGPs.
Oh, you know me. What's a PGP?
That's OPP.
Oh, OP. Well, I know. PPG. What?
PGPs. Aren't you paying attention? Get with the times. This is the new speak, and you better comply.
I'm going to write it down.
PGPs preferred gender pronoun. The pronoun or set of pronouns that an individual would like others to use when talking to or referring to that individual. These, according to the guidelines rolled out by the Chicago Public Schools, now requiring that are now required to be employed to address transgender students and employees by their preferred name and or pronouns or face the consequences. So, for example, they, their, Z.
They, their, Z.
Z, he or she.
Yeah.
Students and employees who consciously use the pronouns, the wrong pronouns, not the PGPs. You go off script, you're not using the PGPs, you're going to be in violation of school policies on comprehensive non-discrimination, Title IX, and sexual harassment, and the Student Code of Conduct. And this is all laid out in the new guidelines promulgated by the Chicago Public School System. Violations will result in appropriate consequences for offending staff, and students should be sent to one of the totalitarian re-education camps. Schools cannot require transgender individuals to obtain a court order or gender change before forcing the new vocabulary upon students. This is a gender-affirming approach. It's a GAA for your PGPs. You got it? Up to speed?
I think so.
Bill on the north side. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. You know, today I feel kind of handicapped, so I'm going to drive around and I'm going to park when I go shopping in all the handicapped spots because I feel handicapped today. So because I feel it, I deserve what I want when I want it. It's insanity.
Now you're getting it. That's the way, Bill. Thanks.
But don't we, as Americans, have a collective right to expectation of privacy?
We have individual rights. Individual rights, perhaps, one could argue. I mean, Ruth Bader Ginsburg argued that 40 years ago in an op-ed in the New York Times. The Washington Post when she was fighting for the ERA. I wonder what she'll say today.
Have you ever been in the bathroom with a transgender?
That's the only way I go to the bathroom. I don't feel comfortable going to the bathroom without a transgender person with me.
Okay.
And I think everyone should have one. I think as like a bathroom monitor, a bathroom buddy.
Hey, come on.
Yeah.
Forget the hall pass. Just bring your bathroom buddy.
Yeah. And then we play, who's got which naughty parts in the bathroom.
You ever been in a cockpit before?
A Turkish prison in the summertime. Been there. Kent in Lincoln Park.
Hey, good morning, guys. The bottom line is, what is this on? So you want to use the bathroom as a boy in the girls' locker room? So you're going to be with naked girls, a child? The bottom line is that the Obama administration hates moral values, and they want to destroy our traditional society. And whether it's burning down communities that supposedly are, the people he's supposed to represent, whether it's Ferguson or whether it's Detroit, he's bad people. These guys are bad people. And, I hope the election is everything that matters. The only way to stop this stuff is by making Hillary Clinton lose the election.
Thanks for the call, Ken. And
but Donald Trump feels the same way as this initiative or this directive coming from the White House.
Yeah, Donald Trump's wrong. Turns out, boy, that's a statement I'm getting used to making. Caitlyn Jenner, according to her biographer.
Oh, I've been watching the Kardashians, by the way.
Ian Halperin says Caitlyn Jenner experienced sex change regret. Well, she didn't get it.
She hasn't gotten it yet.
Now you got me doing
it.
Z. I better use my way. Hold on.
I'm going to turn you into HR for using a pronoun.
I got to check my chart of PGPs.
It's a Z. She's a Z. But
sex change regret, although gender reassignment surgery was not something Bruce Jenner has done at this point.
And he may not.
It has been easy for Caitlyn. It's been very hard, said a friend, according to Ian Halperin, this biographer.
Mm-hmm.
Thrilled about raising awareness, but I think there's a chance that she'll, this is quoting, detransition in the next couple of years. Now, Jenner's publicist says no plans to transition to living as a man. So this seems to me like maybe another ratings ploy to get people to watch that ghastly show.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine greeting you this Friday morning, but enjoy it now because by this afternoon, clouds are going to come in, some rain, thunderstorms, a high of 66 degrees. Then tomorrow, Saturday, it's going to be cool. We're going to have mostly sunny skies. It'll be very windy, a high, if we're lucky, of 52 degrees. And on Sunday, the same conditions, just a little bit warmer, a high in the mid-50s. Let's get those travel times. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thank you, Amy. Dan, good morning. Rolling Meadows Gulf Road is set to reopen. It's been closed this morning for road work at the Adams Tollway. I-90 looks good right now with some road work near Arlington Heights Road set to clear out of the left lane. Lombard, there's a crash, 53 at North Avenue. Eden's fine, Kennedy delay-free. The Eisenhower has a 2-minute delay, Manheim to First Avenue, so it's 31 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound fine. The Stevenson, 37 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. The Bishop Ford is heavy, starting at 130th, 30 minutes, 8094 to the Ryan. I'm Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
The school year is coming to an end, so even though your kids aren't thinking about the next school year, you should be, especially if you want to send your child to a private school. You might think that there's no way you could ever afford to do that. Well, we want to remind you about halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you'll find dozens of local private schools that are offering vouchers for a full year of tuition. You guessed it, half the price, there's no catch. It's real simple. Find a school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school next fall. HalfPriceSchools.com has schools located all across the Chicagoland area, including Roselle, Chicago, Villa Park, Lake Geneva, Westchester, Wheaton. That's just to name a few. So start thinking about back to school today. This might make private schools a real option for you and your family for the first time, but don't wait. Every year these vouchers sell out. Visit HalfPriceSchools.com today. That's HalfPriceSchools.com.
Running a business is tough these days. From a president who claimed it
You didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
to the mountains and mountains of taxes and regulations here in Illinois. But many companies, big and small, have persevered, serving their customers and communities. If that's you and your business, then AM 560 The Answer wants to celebrate your success and tell your story. It's the AM 560 Business Tour 2016, presented by Signature Bank. This spring, Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson will be broadcasting live from businesses in Illinois with success stories of overcoming the odds and thriving in spite of the challenging business environment. If your company fits this description, then we want to know about it so we can consider broadcasting from your location. Tell us your story. Visit 560theanswer.com/business and submit your information. That's 560theanswer.com/business. Sponsored in part by Flex Execs Management Solutions.
Here's a quiz. Is identity theft just when someone other than you puts charges on your credit card? Nope, that's part of it, but identity theft is actually when someone pretends they're you for any number of undesirable reasons, like opening new accounts or a utility bill. Is it true that identity theft can't happen to you? Nope. 1 in 4 people have experienced identity theft. Will LifeLock help you more with identity theft than free credit monitoring will? Yep. LifeLock's proprietary technology detects a huge range of identity threats. And if you ever have a problem, one of our US-based agents will work to resolve it. So how'd you do on the quiz? Come on, how'd you really do? No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But with LifeLock, you get a versus a when it comes to identity protection. Membership starts at just $9.99 a month plus applicable taxes. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code NEWS to get 10% off now. LifeLock.
AM 560 The Answer.
Dan and Amy talking about the new transgender missive from the regime, the schools, about bathroom policy and locker room policy. Eric in Plainfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Eric in Plainfield?
Eric in Plainfield, that's you.
Good morning, Dan. Hey, Amy.
Hi.
Well, here's my thoughts is we've got such a deeply divided country now. I used to identify as a Republican, and for the last several years I've identified as a libertarian. We've got fighting from deeply divided racial issues, deeply divided liberal conservative issues, deeply divided Republican Democrat issues. The logical conclusion of this is civil war. The question is, how far do we have to take this division before, what will be the tipping point that we all start fighting with each other, literally fighting with each other? The tyrannical government we've got, Amendment 2 to protect ourselves against the tyrannical government. Is that where we're headed?
All right, thanks for the rhetorical question, Eric. And just on this, just gender policy, I mean, I just want to sum this up for people, try and kind of distill this down. So what CPS and what other school districts are going to have to do is adopt a gender-affirming approach by using preferred gender pronouns. So let me try and put this in the jargon of the time. You got to use you got to employ a GAA using PGPs, or you're going to be SOL. How's that?
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Now that spring has arrived, it's likely you're looking forward to the warmer weather. But if you're a business owner, facilities manager, or maintenance engineer, you risk the same potential problem every year. A complete system failure. In fact, up to half of all commercial air conditioning units fail upon startup each season due to the lack of regular maintenance and repair. Let the professionals at Air Comfort make a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system before there's a problem. A poorly operating air conditioning system results in uneven temperatures and humidity problems, leading to unhealthy mold and mildew growth. Don't compromise your business's overall air quality. Schedule today with Air Comfort. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Even if you're under contract with another provider, let Air Comfort provide your second opinion. After all, there's a reason why hundreds of businesses have trusted Air Comfort with their mechanical maintenance for more than 80 years. That's Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935.
Hey, a great night out awaits you, courtesy of ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Take advantage of a deal for a sumptuous dinner at the award-winning Buckingham Steakhouse. Enjoy an evening surrounded by luxurious decor, attentive service, all while dining on the finest and prime steaks and seafood. You can buy a $100 gift certificate for only $60. Hey, tired of visiting the usual burger joints? Give your taste buds a thrill at Prime Burger House. Be blown away with the decadence of their handcrafted burgers with toppings sure to delight every taste bud. Get a $50 certificate for only $30. All of these family-friendly restaurants are located in the pavilion at the Grand Victoria in Elgin. Get these details at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Paul Ryan and Donald Trump had a nice first date. Paul Ryan gave Donald Trump his number, and he hopes he'll call.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good Friday morning to the one and only Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, partly cloudy and some sun actually coming out this morning, but the weather for the rest of the day filled with rain and a possible thunderstorm this afternoon. Dozens of Illinois water systems are exceeding lead standards. We'll have an update on that story for you. Tammy Duckworth's lawsuit gets a trial date. Police are probing drug officers' testimony, while a politically connected towing company in the city of Chicago keeps its business. Supreme Court nominee to address graduates at an Illinois high school. The Cubs will host the Pirates later today after a day off. Sox had a day off to recover from that set with the Rangers. They will take on the Yankees next as the Bears begin rookie minicamp. And there's rain in the forecast for today, this evening, and tomorrow. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Gender bathroom use is now moving to schools across America. The Obama administration's issuing a new directive. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the Education and Justice Department sending a letter to school officials directing them to allow boys and girls to use the restroom that matches their gender identity. The Justice Department says it's about preventing discrimination, but this Washington State mom thinks regulating bathroom use is not the job of the president.
There's lots bigger, badder things that he should be dealing with.
The letter doesn't carry the force of law, but does include a threat that schools that do not comply could face lawsuits and the loss of federal aid. Dave.
Rachel, there's a manhunt in Manchester, New Hampshire for a man who shot 2 police officers at about 2 a.m. They're now being treated in a hospital. Several schools are closed this morning. Some residents told to shelter in place. A U.S. Navy commander has lost his command for that incident when Iran detained 10 sailors, showing embarrassing images of them on their knees apologizing. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has this live.
Commander Eric Rash has been reassigned after the Navy said it had lost confidence in him. He was responsible for the training and readiness of the more than 400 sailors in the squadron, which included the 10 who wandered into Iranian territorial waters in the Persian Gulf in January. Several other sailors have been reprimanded, but this is the first firing by the Navy in connection with that incident. The investigation expected to be finished finished by the end of the month, Dave, but more are likely to be disciplined.
Tanya, Donald Trump is optimistic about Republican unity after he and House Speaker Paul Ryan say they had a good meeting.
I think we agree on a lot of things, and it'll be a little process, but it'll come along.
Ryan called Trump warm and genuine, but isn't ready yet to endorse him for president. The oldest person in the world has died. Susanna Mushat Jones was 116, born on an Alabama farm in 1899. She died in New York City. Emma Morano from Italy is now the oldest in the world, the last known person born in the 1800s still alive. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Partly sunny and 50 degrees. It is 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good Friday morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man suspected of killing three is dead following an 11-hour standoff with police on Chicago's South Side. The body of Kevin Robinson discovered yesterday afternoon in a home near 103rd and Union. This morning, Chicago Public Schools are bracing for deep cuts. CPS says principals have been warned that budgets could be reduced by about 20% for the upcoming fiscal year. Police are searching for a man accused of attacking a Northwestern University student. Authorities say the victim told officers the suspect hit her yesterday after the pair got into an argument. She accused him of not being where he was supposed to be, inside a dorm in Evanston that was normally locked and secure. The student wasn't seriously hurt. The lead lawyer on his defense team says former House Speaker Dennis Hastert will not appeal his conviction or 15-month prison sentence in that hush money case linked to the sexual abuse of students. An Illinois judge tentatively sets a trial date well before the November general election in a workplace retaliation lawsuit against Democratic U.S. Senate candidate Tammy Duckworth. Union County Judge Mark Bowie, at a hearing Thursday, rejected out of hand an effort by government lawyers to try and dismiss that lawsuit. Federal judge sentences a purported leader of a Chicago street gang to life in prison for murder and drug trafficking conspiracies. 47-year-old Nathaniel Hoskins, according to prosecutors, led the Imperial Insane Vice Lords and ordered at least one murder and oversaw drug sales on the city's west side. Oklahoma City to the NBA's Western Conference Finals for the fourth time in 6 years. They disposed of San Antonio last night. San Jose's Sharks are in the NHL's Western Conference Finals following an emphatic Game 7 win over Nashville. There's baseball on tap for the afternoon. Pirates and Cubs. And tonight, Chris Sale goes for his 8th win of the season against the Yankees. The news, a service of LifeLock, grabbing coffee, maybe breakfast. If you swipe your card, you can leave a trail of digital information that thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
In business, risks and rewards come with every decision, like moving to the cloud with Office 365. While its benefits include anywhere access and lower costs, cyber threats and user errors can quickly wipe out data and the money you save. Barracuda Essentials for Office 365 provide an added layer of security and functionality for threat protection, email migration, data recovery, and quality of service. Move securely to Office 365. Visit barracuda.com/essentials to learn more.
If you have hard water, the Lime Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining, bad odors, and lead with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to purewater411.com. That's purewater411.com.
This is Pete. I've had 3 missing teeth and have been thinking for a while about getting something done to get them replaced. I went to Dr. Neruzzi at Fox River Periodontics to see what they could do, and I'm glad that I did that. The staff there was fantastic. Dr. Neruzzi made sure I was comfortable during the entire process, always checking to make sure there was no pain. All my visits were very pleasant, and I'm glad I had it done. Another piece that made it fantastic was they worked with me on the payment. As all of us know, these are not inexpensive items to do, so they worked with me on the payment options as well as with my insurance carrier to help minimize my out-of-pocket cost. I I feel so much better now that I've had my teeth and my dental implants put in. I feel more confident as I'm walking around. For those of you out there that are missing teeth and thinking about doing this, I would recommend you see Dr. Neruzzi and his staff. They're great, and I would highly recommend them going forward.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
It's the Ready to Ride sales event and time to gear up for your ultimate adventure. Enjoy summertime fun on a Can-Am ATV, side-by-side, Can-Am Spyder, or Sea-Doo watercraft. Hurry in by May 31st and save up to $2,500 on select 2015 models. Plus, get great financing. Get ready to ride because the fun starts now.
Visit Dockside Marine in Wilmington.
Subject to credit approval. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. For safety and training info, contact the ATV Safety Institute.
Thousands of people are choosing to drive with Uber. That's where the riders are. So drivers have less downtime, are busier making more trips, earning more money.
I choose to drive with Uber because of the money and flexibility. I'm my own boss. I get to do what I want, when I want, and still earn extra money. Driving with Uber is the smartest thing I've done.
Earn the extra money you need. Just an hour or two a day and the money adds up fast when you drive with Uber. Get started today. Take 2 minutes and sign up right now. Go to drivewithuber.com. Drivewithuber.com.
6:07. Let's get an update on the roads in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. The latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. It's heavy early on the inbound Eisenhower. Stop and go Manheim to First Avenue, 45 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, 32 from Manheim. Outbound 29 minutes to Thorndale. Eden's clear. Kennedy, 22 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 21. Stevenson has delays. First Avenue to Kedzie. It is already an hour from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. No crash reported. The travel time just jumped about 20 minutes a few moments ago. Again, an hour, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. It's fine outbound. The Ryan is 25 minutes, 95th to downtown, I-57. 25 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford 30. Traffic is a service of TimeshareExitTeam.com. Feel like you're trapped in your timeshare contract? Get out now, safely and legitimately at TimeshareExitTeam.com. They'll get you out or give you a full refund. Call 844-321-EXIT. 844-321-EXIT. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte. AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, some sun, then turning cloudy with rain and a thunderstorm late this afternoon, high 66. Evening rain, then clouds breaking tonight, low 40. Clouds and sun tomorrow, high of 52. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
51 at O'Hare right now. We have some sunshine breaking through. Your next news update is at 6:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I think we had a very encouraging meeting. Look, it's no secret that Donald Trump and I have had our differences. The question is, what is that we need to do to unify the Republican Party and all strains of conservative wings in the party?
I think for the most part we agree on a lot of different items, and we're getting there.
There's never 100% unanimity in anything. Like Reagan said, my 80% friend is not my 20% enemy. We believe that.
Have you met with the FBI about the emails?
Well, as I've said, I can't comment on an ongoing investigation.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, it's Friday the 13th, and Amy's one of these bizarre, superstitious types.
I don't like the number 13. If I'm ever assigned to row 13 on an airplane, I switch my seat. If I ever have to be appointed a hotel room on the 13th floor, I change rooms. I don't step on cracks because it breaks my mother's backs. I do not walk underneath. No, I don't walk underneath ladders. I do not allow an umbrella to be opened In the house, in the car, nowhere. One of those. Yes, thank you.
You're a funny little person, aren't you? Speaking of which, let's talk.
I don't have a black cat.
Let's talk a little politics.
Yes, please.
So Paul Ryan and Donald Trump met for coffee. Yeah.
Getting to know all about you.
And Ryan came out, and he's pretty encouraged that they're on the path to a meaningful long-term relationship.
And so, yes, this is our first meeting. I was very encouraged with this meeting, but this is a process. It takes a little time. You don't put it together in 45 minutes. So that is why we had, like I said, a very good start to a process on how we unify.
It's the start of this is the start of a beautiful friendship. What are you doing?
I'm
are you
making
doing You're doing Humphrey Bogart? Are you doing Marlon Brando? What are you doing?
Marlon Brando. I mean, they presented a united front. That's great. All kumbaya, everything's good. But he's not endorsing him yet because this is going to be a slow process. They're slow playing this relationship. This is just so bizarre for me and a lot of people, I think, that I'm not used to seeing this.
This is a bizarre campaign cycle.
Yeah.
Trump is a bizarre candidate and nominee. And, there's a lot of bridges to be built, a lot of troubled waters that need to be traversed from the last 10 months. And so, I thought it came out about as well as you expected it to. And
Paul Ryan walked out with a stack of papers because he talked about entitlement programs and immigration and was trying to get him to soften his stance on allowing Muslims into this country.
And Paul Ryan also said that Trump reiterated his interest in having Paul Ryan chair the convention in July. And Paul Ryan didn't commit to that, but it showed Trump, it indicated that Trump is making the necessary overture to try and unify the party the best as he can. And consistent with what Trump has said, that Paul Ryan is different than some of the other people that are resisting folding in with me. And he's treating it in that spirit. Wonder what your thoughts on the Paul Ryan-Trump meeting and what they had to say coming out of the meeting as they're presenting, if not a unified front, a unifying front. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-368, turnkey.pro text line. And then there's this, Amy, I don't know if you saw this, but there's a dating site for Americans fleeing the country to meet Canadians if they're going to relocate to Canada.
Oh, really? Because how many times have you heard people say, if Trump's elected, I'm moving to Canada?
I've heard Lena Dunham say it many times as I want to hear anything.
Well, it's not only Lena Dunham.
Lena Dunham has to say.
Cher, Miley Cyrus, Whoopi Goldberg, Rosie O'Donnell.
Fantastic.
Al Sharpton and Governor Brown says California is going to build a wall if Trump becomes president.
Well, Canadians don't know what they're in for. This website, Maple Match, launched a week ago. I'm serious. Here's the website advertisement to visitors.
Of course it's called Maple Match.
Maple Match makes it easy for Americans to find the ideal Canadian partner to save them from the unfathomable horror of a Trump presidency. That's their value proposition. Making dating great again is the tagline on the homepage. And so this is for all of those Hollywood celebs and, boy, clean out the halls of academia. I'm starting to warm up to Trump myself, thinking about all the people who would migrate north to settle down in Moose Country and be out of our hair. Boy, that's a kind of an unexpected feature of potential Trump presidency, isn't it?
But all these lefty, liberal Hollywood elites, they're not going to move to Canada. They're just saying this because, they have to be outraged. They have to join the outrage train against Donald Trump.
By the way, one other thing on Paul Ryan and the House Republicans and Senate Republicans, but specifically the House Republicans because they've been, taking a lot of heat in terms of not acting to do more to fight the Obama left-wing agenda. We'll talk to Ovik Roy at the Manhattan Institute about this at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. But yesterday, kind of an important decision, federal district court judge ruled that the Obama administration unlawfully spent money Congress did not appropriate, unconstitutionally spent money that Congress did not appropriate for the sake of propping up a key Obamacare subsidy. And so this is now going to be appealed and probably make its way to the Supreme Court next year.
Which is funny because the judge put her own decision on hold because she knows it's going to be appealed.
Right, but and it reminds us of the importance of that Supreme Court nominee who will ultimately replace Justice Scalia, who makes that nomination. But this is an important decision, and it reminds the electorate, especially Republicans, that there are some things that House Republicans did. We can be critical of some of their instincts to lead with surrender, but, litigation takes a while. And this is a reminder that they have actually put in the fight. There have been a number of lawsuits that made colorable claims as to the unconstitutionality of Obamacare that have been pursued by House Republicans. This is another example that has been pursued. It's been pursued somewhat successfully now with the federal district court judge ruling on the side of House Republicans, and it will continue to be pursued. So let's assign blame where it's warranted, but also let's give credit where it's warranted, too.
Republicans, some congressional members saw that the White House was overstepping their boundaries and just taking millions of dollars and giving it to Obamacare subsidies. So good for them. It was a big victory yesterday.
Tony on the South Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey.
Amy keeps saying every time I hear him talk about Trump. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a crazy Trumper. If I'll vote for him. I got him. We can't have Hillary. However, she's not advancing the conservative cause by repeating over and over that he wanted to ban Muslims from the country. I don't remember hearing him saying that. I heard him say that he wants to vet Syrian refugees, make sure there's no terrorists, but did he ever say? I don't ever think he ever said that.
Yeah, he
did. We played it.
He said the temporary ban on Muslims.
Okay, I apologize. Okay. He's got to change that. He's got to change that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what Paul Ryan. I think Paul Ryan was successful, from what NBC was reporting, in trying to convince Donald Trump to soften his stance on the alleged banning of Muslims from coming to this country.
I don't think Paul Ryan was successful at all. Donald Trump was already recasting that position before the meeting.
Because the day before, Ben Carson met with Paul Ryan and figured out what they're going to be discussing.
Well, 2 days ago, he was on Fox and Friends, where he conjured up the idea of having Rudy Giuliani head a commission to look at the issue of radical Islamic terror so that we could dispense with the temporary ban on Muslims who are, I guess, not members of the U.S. military, for example, as quickly as possible. So, this is more of Donald Trump starting to try and kind of fill in the blanks and make policies that at first flush sounded a bit unreasonable and ill-considered, some more reasonable and more thoughtful, which is, I guess, progress. Randy and Crown Point.
Morning, Dan. Morning, Amy. Hey, the article that brought up the Obamacare win by the Republicans yesterday was very left-leaning. They made it sound like this is just another inconvenient step, but that it will be overturned in court. But what would be good is if the Supreme Court could get it now while it's 4-4 and let the Supreme Court just boot it back to the lower court and let the decision stand, and it would be what it is. But the courts and the bureaucracy in this country never work that fast. But it was a good day from a standpoint. It really was legally a good day. And the fact that they brought out the article of the Constitution about the paying being up to the Congress, that's something that has been screamed for the last 5 years.
Yeah,
and it's a good decision.
Thanks for the call, Randy. It was nice. It was nice for a judge to introduce the Obama administration to the Constitution.
Yeah.
And it was nice for Paul Ryan to introduce Donald Trump to it. So a lot of people learned a lot about the Constitution yesterday, and that's great. Byron on the Eisenhower, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a different perspective. I think the Republicans are looking at this all wrong. I think Republicans do need to vote for Trump for the sole purpose of Trump likes to say he's this big deal maker. So instead of just focusing on the presidential elections, we actually just spend more time focusing on all the down ballots, making sure we secure the House, secure the Senate, so that way Trump has to make deals with the Republican Party. Because if we don't focus on those down ballots, he's going to end up making deals with the Democrat Party.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think that's an excellent point, Byron. Thanks for the call. Oh, by the way, Amy,
yes?
I got this in from an aviation expert. You say if you're assigned to the 13th row on planes, that you switch your seat. There is no 13th row on a plane. So when you've been flying, where the hell have you been sitting?
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Most hotels don't have a 13th floor, but I swear to you, and I'll show you my boarding passes. My kids, last time I flew to LA, they all sat in row 13, A, B, and C, and I was supposed to be the C, and I got up.
I think when you're flying, you slip into a vortex. This is like a Twilight Zone episode. Do you even know whether you're really here? Or is this an Amy Jacobson doppelganger that's co-hosted this day?
Here's your forecast for this Friday. You know what the number is. We're going to have sunshine this morning, and then it's going to get dreary and rainy and scary. We're going to have a thunderstorm late this afternoon, a high of 66 degrees. Then tomorrow, doesn't look too good. We're going to have some sunshine, but clouds. It'll be windy, a lot cooler than we're used to, a high of 52. And pretty much the same for Sunday, but just a little bit warmer, a high of 56. Jim Telemonte, anything scary on the roadways?
Happy Friday 13th, Amy. Well, I think a black cat, probably a declawed cat, crossed the Stevenson earlier this morning. And it's pretty unlucky right now. Jammed from Weber to Lamont Road and First Avenue to Kedzie. The Stevenson is an hour and 5 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive already. It's 45 minutes from the Tri-State. It is clear outbound. Eden's 20 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. The Kennedy, a more normal 23 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound fine at 20. The Eisenhower's heavy too, 46 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 32. The Ryan is 27 minutes, 95th to downtown, and I-57 at the Bishop Ford. Pretty unfortunate there too. Either way, it's about 32 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Great talent is the driving force behind your successful business. If you don't have the right people in key roles, then you have talent gaps. IMC Solutions identifies those gaps and delivers expertise in recruiting the right talent to fill them, leaving you free to succeed.
Hi, I'm Linda Nichols, founder of IMC Solutions. We're a niche recruiting and staffing firm that specializes in placing human resources and sales professionals. We've created programs that are just right for your small to medium-sized business because we know that you're looking for expertise, but are also looking at the bottom line expenses to your company. You can take advantage of recruiting services that big companies get, but you don't have to pay the big fees. Our programs and solutions are affordable and bring you the people you need.
IMC Solutions understands the unique challenges of your business, making the tough job of hiring easy. Get started on finding your next hire today at imcsolutions.com or call Linda Nichols at 630-637-6200.
You know, I've always been afraid we don't get enough, and that's why I feel so secure in taking Balance of Nature. But as long as I can get those fruits and vegetables, that's what, to me, is very important.
Well, you know, I heard all the advertisements on the radios where I first heard about this, and of course, I thought, well, you know, I need to order that because I don't get my fruits and vegetables like I should. I eat some, but not all. So I started taking the product, and I've taken it religiously now for, I guess, 3 months, going on 3 months now, and I told my wife I can definitely tell a difference. So it's a good product.
Make the change today. No more synthetics, no more extracts. Today is your chance to get it right. Accept and complete Dr. Howard's 120-day health challenge to earn a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Hey, let's get sentimental. Think about how much your father means to you. Now ask, what am I getting Dad for Father's Day on June 19th? It's weird, but did you know that 82% of all people don't know that you're supposed to change pillows every 2 years or less? That's because pillows absorb dead skin, dirt, skin, oils, and dust mites that can cause allergies, acne, asthma, and who knows what else. So if you haven't already done so, you need a washable MyPillow, and so does your dad. I may buy one for my dog Hunter. With a 10-year warranty, it's a great gift and health investment as well. And you'll sleep better. I do. That's why MyPillow is the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. Visit MyPillow.com or call 1-800-489-0201. Use the promo code Joe for the 2-for-1 offer. Keep one for you. Do it now. 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code Joe. 800-489-0201.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy.
Oh my gosh. 847 text message. Don't tell Amy that it's a full moon tonight as well.
Oh, yeah. If you're flying tonight, you're sitting in the 13th row. Look for the gremlin on the wing. But there are 13th rows in older planes.
There are. I mean, it's 737, the new Airbuses. Some Super 80s do not have a 13th row, but most 13th rows are exit rows.
Well, to be fair, my friend.
My friend. Oh, you have a friend now?
Like
this alleged friend of yours?
Well, like.
Is he an invisible friend, Dan?
Like me, we fly private. We don't know about these row numbers. And
that's right. Every seat is first class.
And by the way, when you're sitting in the 14th row, next time I just want you to know that's actually the 13th row.
Stop it.
Hillary Clinton has a commercial out. She's starting to turn her sights on Donald Trump, and it's
pretty effective.
Goes through, it's kind of the typical commercial on Trump, some of the rather curious statements he's made, and makes the case that the presidency is not a reality show.
We have some dire foreign policy issues percolating around the world right now. Who are you consulting with consistently so that you're ready on day one?
I'm speaking with myself, number one, because I have a very good brain and I've said a lot of things.
I know Russia well. I had a major event in Russia 2 or 3 years ago, Miss Universe contest, which was a big, incredible event. If Putin wants to go in, and I got to know him very well because we were both on 60 Minutes. We were stablemates.
The difference between Hezbollah and Hamas does not matter to you yet, but it will.
It will when it's appropriate. I would know how to bring ISIS to the table or beyond that defeat ISIS very quickly. And I'm not going to tell you what it is tonight.
Maybe Syria should be a free zone for ISIS. We have to be unpredictable.
No, this was about ISIS. You would not
By the way,
use a
could I do
tactical
one
nuclear
thing?
weapon against ISIS.
This is a very good-looking group of people. Could I just go around so I know who the hell I'm talking about?
The last one was at the Washington Post editorial board. Can I just go around the room so I know who the hell I'm talking to?
This room of good-looking people.
I don't know if that's going to benefit Trump or Hillary, the ads like that. Because
so real.
The Sideshow Donald stuff, I tried it for the first couple of months of the campaign. It didn't go anywhere, obviously. And I just don't know if that's the way that you're going to be able to take down Donald Trump. I don't think so, actually. Mike, on 294, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Mike. Mike.
Mike.
Mike.
Mike.
Mike. Mike.
It's Friday the 13th.
Jordan in Forest Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, this minor victory by the anti-Obamacare people might seem like it's significant, but what's going to happen when the law is actually overturned and there's a single mom getting $1,000 a month subsidy? Which Republicans are going to stand up and say, no, you're not going to get your subsidy?
Yeah,
Who's going to do that? And I don't think Paul Ryan is going to be one of them.
Well, there are many alternatives, and frankly, some promulgated at least in part by Paul Ryan to dealing with the individuals that fell through the cracks, as it were, in the government-centric healthcare system before Obamacare. There are free market alternatives to this, and we'll see. I mean, it'll be put to the test with a President Trump and a Speaker Ryan and probably a Senate Majority Leader McConnell. We're going to put it to the test, but at least there'll be a test, because any other alternative in terms of the power structure, and it won't even get tested. Thanks for the call, Jordan.
Our leaders are stupid.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Psoriasis and vitiligo are serious diseases. You've tried everything and have been disappointed. Now there's X-Track, a breakthrough treatment that provides long-lasting, safe relief. X-Track is FDA cleared for the treatment of psoriasis and vitiligo and is endorsed by thousands of dermatologists and hospitals because it works. Clinical studies show immediate results with up to 95% clearance. The in-office visits are fast, painless, with virtually no side effects. With thousands of providers treating patients all over the country, X-Track is covered by all major insurance companies and Medicare. We'll help you find a doctor close by, and there is no cost to you until you see results. Get your life back. Live free. Live X-Track clear.
For your no-cost treatment, call now 800-972-3143. That's 800-972-3143. 800-972-3143 or visit xtracradio.com. Qualified patients, certain restrictions apply, results may vary.
Here's some great news. Jack Taboda of Taboda & Associates can help you with your retirement game plan. You know Jack, or you should. Jack is the president and founder of Taboda & Associates. He's been helping folks just like you retire successfully for 3 decades. Jack has the insight, information, strategies, and experience you can use to build wealth and keep it. Live good. Retire well with Jack Taboda of Taboda & Associates. 630-777-7955. 630-777-7955.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The head of the Chicago FOP says the summer is going to light up with violence in Chicago. We'll discuss at 6:36.
And also lighting up TSA lines. Passengers are very frustrated. Long lines last night at both O'Hare and Midway. Some waited up to 3 hours. We'll tell you why. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Partly sunny and 50. Nice start to your Friday. Not a good day for Honda. They're feeling the financial sting this morning of an unprecedented Takata airbag recall. The Japanese automaker just reported a quarterly loss of $850 million compared to a profit of $750 million the same time last year. House Speaker Paul Ryan says he and likely GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump had an encouraging meeting on Capitol Hill.
We had a very encouraging meeting. Look, it's no secret that Donald Trump and I have had our differences. We talked about those differences today. The question is, what is that we need to do to unify the Republican Party?
Top officials with Trump's presidential campaign are in Cleveland this morning. They say they're beginning planning for the Republican National Convention.
Kind of an update on where things are from delegations, the hotels, the venues, the finances, everything, kind of just an update.
The RNC's committee chair, Kristen Kukowski, says Trump staffers will be touring the downtown area today. White House playing down concerns about a new court ruling against Obamacare.
This suit represents the first time in our nation's history that Congress has been permitted to sue the executive branch over a disagreement about how to interpret a statute.
The judge says constitutionally the administration cannot spend money that was not appropriated by Congress. A man suspected of killing 3 is dead following an 11-hour standoff on Chicago's South Side yesterday. Chicago Public Schools bracing for deep cuts. CPS warning principals about budgets that could be reduced 20%. Mayor Emanuel's administration has awarded a $60 million towing contract to a controversial company with a 26-year history of clout and questionable conduct, United Road Towing. Illinois lawmakers have approved $700 million to partially finance various human service programs that haven't received funding since last summer because of the budget stalemate. The Senate later sent that bill to the governor. And the country's biggest youth football organization this morning says it will ban kickoffs to prevent younger players from concussions. Pop Warner announcing it's doing away with kickoffs in its 3 youngest divisions, kids between 5 and 10 years. Baseball on tap this afternoon for your Cubs. They take on the Pirates, and your White Sox, who visit the Yankees. The news, a service of TimeshareExitTeam.com. Do you feel like you're trapped in that timeshare contract? Get out now safely and legitimately with TimeshareExitTeam.com. They'll get you out or get you a full refund, 844-321-EXIT. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager isn't sold on Donald Trump as a conservative.
Nobody was founded except the United States on the doctrine of limited government. And I not only don't see that as a principle in Donald Trump's campaign, I think that the government will expand its powers. He will tell companies where they can move and can't move, as an example. That's pretty powerful government. Barack Obama didn't even go that far.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560.
Well, I believe a lot of it has to do with what happened with the video, with the Laquan McDonald incident, and the increase in crime, the mistrust to say that the officers that go into these communities don't care for the communities.
We're so excited about our sold-out golf outing at the Bolingbrook Golf Club coming up on Thursday, June 16th.
we have African American officers that work in Inglewood.
If you weren't able to get in this year, don't worry. You can still reserve a tee time at the Bolingbrook Golf Club anytime this spring or summer.
And that's part of the problem that I have with that statement and Ms. Lightfoot's report. They never read this criminal profiling. And when I was in the gang crime unit, I used to work the West Side a lot.
MJ Miller and Company Jewelers
when
in
we
Barrington,
saw
Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli,
Superintendent
and Pearl
Johnson
Mortgage.
coming with a lot of positive feedback from our members, and for a boss to go that high up the ranks and not have somebody call up and say, "Oh my!" When we get a case of misconduct brought to us by an officer, we look at the individual incident. We also look at their background. You can't. You do a drug test, you're positive, you're gone. If you're arrested for a crime, even before conviction, they'll get rid of you. In the circumstance with Officer Van Dyke, he was in a performance of his duty. I'm worried about the city every day.
Based on a thorough examination and analysis of all the potential issues and questions.
There is a tension on our streets right now. The biggest problem I see now is that you have people that have never had a weapon on their hip, and the police officers tell police what to do. But what I told people in Springfield, and what I've told people in City Council is you have people that have
tools at your disposal.
It is 6:37 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The northbound Tri-State has delays from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Eastbound Adams Tollway slow Rose Hill to 53, and then the Tri-State out of the Kennedy, where it's 30 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 21. Eden's just a little heavy inbound approaching the junction. The Eisenhower stop and go from the Reagan Tollway to Harlem. 47 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 33. The Stevenson's brutal, with delays starting at Weber Road, an hour and 15 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36 minutes. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95 to downtown, I-57, 32 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Bishop 428, traffic service Staples. Staples has new lower prices on ink and toner. An in-stock guarantee to ensure you always get what you need. In-stock guarantee applies to in-store selection only. Out-of-stock ink and toner be ordered from an in-store kiosk with $10 discount plus free shipping. Limit 1 cartridge per customer. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Sun this morning. Could see some rain and thunderstorms later this afternoon. High 66. A chilly evening ahead with some rain. Low of 40. Partly sunny and 50 right now. Next news at 7, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560 The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshale Financial Group.
Let not your heart be troubled. Listen to me, Sean Hannity. I'll have the latest news and what it all means for you. It's coming up at 2 right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So I sat down with Dean Angelo Sr., who is the president of the Chicago Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 7, represents most of the 12,000 plus Chicago police officers, and wide-ranging discussion. He's a very interesting guy. We've had him on the show a number of times, of course.
Mm-hmm. Is this the first time you met him face-to-face?
Yeah, first time I sat down with him. We spoke for about an hour. You can see the entire interview at upstream-ideas.com. It really is worth a look. We also have about a 7-minute compilation of some of the highlights from the interview. So, Angelo's he's a very thoughtful guy. This is somebody who's been in law enforcement for more than 3 decades, but also he's kind of the rare leader, frankly, policy leader in Chicago who's really thoughtful and measured about all of the issues that he confronts, both in terms of representing his men and women, doing his job, in other words, as well as being a resident of Chicago with a son who was on the Chicago police force and just thinking about what's going on in the city generally as another Chicago family. Angelo said a number of things. One of the things he said, get your reaction to, is that the fundamental problem you have, there's 2 fundamental problems that are kind of connected with the culture right now as it pertains to police, and Chicago police specifically. He said that in his 36 years in law enforcement, he has not seen a climate where police suffer more disrespect than they do now. And against the backdrop of the Tiny Dancer Task Force report, the DOJ investigation that's ongoing, obviously the controversies and the pending criminal trial of Officer Jason Van Dyke, who shot and killed Laquan McDonald, Dean Angelo said this in terms of what he tries to impress upon mayors and members of the city council and members of the General Assembly.
The biggest problem I see now is that you have people that have never had a weapon on their hip or been a police officer telling police what to do. But what I told people in Springfield and what I've told people in city council is you have people that have never done police work trying to tell the police how to do their job. More people will die.
More people will die. It's a pretty strong statement. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. It's a timely discussion because we're having this dialogue against the backdrop of investigative stops down 90% year over year, murders up 50% year over year, shootings up 70% year over year, projecting right now to have the fewest number of drug arrests since the Nixon administration. And I asked Angela about those things. He said, is that good news or bad news? He says it's bad news. The drug trade didn't disappear in Chicago.
No.
What's happened is the police have been declawed.
Thank you. Too soon, really.
In your parlance. And that's a big problem because you're essentially telling the street gangs,
it's okay.
We're standing down.
Right. I mean, my neighbor had a bullet hole through their bay window, and the cops didn't even come because no one was injured. And they said, we can't. We're slammed here.
Stretched too thin.
Yeah. And most of our officers have been reassigned to the west and the south side. So we rarely even see police officers. You know, the only police officers I see, the ones that are protecting Rahm Emanuel's house. I have to be honest with you. And everyone can talk on their cell phone in the city. You're not going to get pulled over for that. Who cares? You make a right turn on red? Who cares?
Well, now on the flip side of that, we also had a discussion about police misconduct because Dean Angelo said on this show, he's honest. I mean, this is why he's very interesting to talk to. He said, look, we have a collective bargaining agreement and the process for disciplinary action against a police officer is what it is. I'm not going to tell you that a bad cop has never been put back on the street because that's happened. And so we had that discussion. Well, if that's true, and no system is going to be fail-safe. No system is going to be 100%. But what improvements need to be made in terms of dealing with police misconduct to enhance the trust between police and Chicago families, residents?
When we get a case of misconduct brought to us by an officer, we look at the individual incident. We also look at their background. You cannot go from zero disciplinary history to separation. If the department has a guy that's got a behavioral issue, and discipline is supposed to adjust behaviors, and they put them through the process, and then they come back and continue that behavior that they were called on the carpet for, then you have an opportunity organizationally to either severely admonish and discipline them or remove them. But when you don't follow the process and you don't try to adjust that behavior with increasing discipline, that's on them.
And he goes on to say, because I said, well, are there zero tolerance incidents or zero tolerance behaviors? Thinking, or should there be? And if there are, should there be additional ones? Thinking about testing hot for drugs while on the job or committing a criminal act. And he responded,
if you do a drug test, you're positive, you're gone. If you're arrested for a crime, even before conviction, they'll get rid of you. In the circumstance with Officer Van Dyke, he was in a performance of his duty. I believe that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to that don't have a preconceived notion of what should happen, that let the opportunities of the court play itself out, and they're going to sit back and they're going to go, "I never thought of that," or a light bulb might go off, or there might be some type of a re-examination within themselves of what they see.
Well, and one of the things he said about the Laquan McDonald case that was interesting, I don't know if I've heard this before. So one thing that the officers did that rolled up on McDonald, Van Dyke, and his partner, the way that the squad car intersected with him,
Yeah.
he said that was a mistake. They should have come at him from the front so that when Van Dyke opened his door, he wasn't right square facing McDonald, with what was it, 10 or 12 feet of distance. If they had come straight on, then they both have the protection of the doors when they open the squad car, and then you're facing him straight on. So, I mean, that was one interesting point. Of course, he's going to let the court case play out. It was one interesting point. It doesn't, I'm not saying it justifies what happened, but it was just an interesting point in terms of police protocol and analyzing what was done and where the mistakes were made that put Van Dyke in a position that if he had been in a different position, maybe Laquan McDonald doesn't get shot and killed.
What did he say about hiring Jason Van Dyke?
Yeah,
because he's taken a lot of heat for having him work there over at the FOP headquarters, and he's basically in a janitorial position, and just odds and ends, whatever they need him to do.
Yeah, I asked him that question, and he essentially said, "Look, this is a protocol for the FOP. I've done it in the past. That was my decision. He took full ownership of it, so I know I took heat for it. But this guy's unemployable. His wife's busy. He receives death threats daily. His wife receives death threats. They." Essentially, Black Lives Matter protesters shut down her business. And so, I have a responsibility to my members, and this is not inconsistent with what I've done for people in similar circumstances. He is otherwise unemployable and has no means of income, and so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Let's go to Joe in Oak Forest. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, somebody said that they're putting bad cops on the street. Who's putting the bad thugs back on the street? These guys get violent crimes that are out back on the street in 2 years.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Joe. I mean, that's one of the issues. There's no question about it. And we talked about that in the interview, just kind of the entire ecosystem of the justice system. So it's not, the law enforcement side, but the prosecutorial side, as well as the civilian leadership that is over top of both to some extent, particularly police. Tom in Schaumburg.
Well, the hatred and the contempt that the black community has for police officers is such that it really doesn't make any sense to get involved anymore. Let's just set up boundaries and call that a no-go zone, like the British did with the Muslims, and let them police themselves. That'll be the way to do it, because the cops don't want to go in there. They've got no upside. They try to arrest anybody, and they're called on the carpet for police brutality no matter what they do. Everybody wants to sue the taxpayers because that's where all the big money is. The judges don't want to put them in jail because you got people like Tony Bullwinkle saying that the whole system is racist, and she can prove it because there's more blacks in jail than there are whites. So it must be racism. The whole thing is a complete screw-up. So let these people police themselves, and if there's any problems in those communities, it's on them, and the rest of us just avoid the area.
And thanks for the call, Tom. Yeah, let's be clear about something. In the communities like Inglewood and Auburn Gresham and South Shore, these communities that have become shooting galleries, the majority of residents, including in mostly African-American neighborhoods, mostly Latino neighborhoods, Pilsen, Little Village, the majority of the residents are law-abiding, and they want police protection like anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not do the these people thing. Let's not do the police themselves thing, because the majority of residents in those neighborhoods want the same thing that I want living in Streeterville or you want living in Schaumburg. And Angelo, by the way, addressed that whole issue of systemic racism in the police department and according to the Lori Lightfoot task force report, the complete lack of interest in preservation of minority lives within the Chicago Police Department, according to the task force report.
To say that the officers that go into these communities don't care for the communities they work in each and every day is a complete disconnect. What we would like to do is invite all of these people that buy into that to ride along with those officers, get in a squad car with them. We've asked city council people to do it, and they don't. We've asked people in Springfield to do it, and they won't. We don't know why.
Too dangerous.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they lose their narrative if they go in there and they see what happens, and they see the way that the officers are faced with a level of disrespect that's never been seen before. When I testified at the Senate subcommittee about body cameras coming, I told them, you're going to be subjected to a segment of our society that you have no idea exists. And you need to be exposed to this. I don't want to see any editing in these videos that come out with the body cameras. I think it's important that our entire population see what police officers are confronted with each and every day, that you're going to come away with a brand new level of respect for what these women and men do each and every day in the city of Chicago.
I love the idea of the politicians doing the ride-alongs, and it's interesting that none have taken him up on the offer.
Not one?
Well, that's effectively what he said. You can catch the rest of the Dean Angelo interview at upstream-ideas.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine today, but by this afternoon, we're going to have some big changes coming through here. Rain, possibly a thunderstorm, a high of 66 degrees, and big changes coming this weekend. It's going to be mostly cloudy, some peaks of sun by the afternoon both days, but it will be windy, cooler. Saturday, a high of 52. Sunday, just in the mid-50s. Anything frightening on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. South Side got a closure of State Street, but 101st and 103rd after an earlier fire. Travel times are rising. The Kennedy is 32 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 30. Eden's 25 minutes from Lake Cook to the junction, outbound 21. The Eisenhower, now an hour and 5 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. 48 minutes from Manheim, outbound 37 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. An hour now from the Tri-State, outbound just 5 minutes worth of delay starting at Western. Ryan is 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go from the Stevenson to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve, Adams Tollway, Jan, Barrington to Roselle with a crash in the left lane. Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Housing industry spirits lifted by new mortgage interest rates. A new report says poultry workers face tough working conditions. Nissan sales moving lower. Those stories next.
Attention, all timeshare owners. Were you a victim of a high-pressure or dishonest timeshare sales agent? Were you confused with what you were buying or didn't provide what you were promised? Do you feel that you overpaid for your timeshare, can't afford it, or do you simply not use it anymore and just want out? If you answered yes to any of these questions, we can help. We're Timeshare Compliance, and every day we help hundreds of timeshare victims protect their rights. Our team can legally terminate your timeshare agreement, ending the payments forever, saving you thousands. In some cases, we can even get you a refund of the fees you previously paid. But you must act now. Call 800-811-7670 or visit timesharecompliance.com for a free consultation. We can help you save thousands, but only if you call 800-811-7670 or visit timesharecompliance.com for an absolutely free consultation. That's 800-811-7670 or timesharecompliance.com.
Heading into the final day of the work week, Wall Street taking note of long-term mortgage interest rates, which have declined for a third straight week. That news from Freddie Mac as the spring home buying season is underway. The international group Oxfam says poultry workers in the United States live under a climate of fear, some of them forced to wear diapers on the job, they say. The report suggests many workers are afraid to ask for time off for bathroom breaks. Spokesmen for large poultry processors say they've seen no evidence of any of that. After taking a 34% stake in scandal-ridden rival Mitsubishi Motors, Nissan has suffered a 40% plunge in January to March profits, and Nissan's quarterly sales also dropping by $30 billion. Join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
We've all heard commercials where they chatter about how large their inventory is, how big their discounts are. Well, this is where the zinc meets your metal. Gatto Industrial Platers on Roosevelt Road in Chicago is home to North America's largest plating line. They can handle parts up to 27 feet long, weighing up to 8,000 pounds, including a production rack and barrel zinc plating line that can process up to 300 tons of parts each and every day. But Gatto Platers can also handle zinc plating of a small box of screws and all in between, with 24 to 48-hour turnaround service and a fleet of trucks all over Chicagoland. As their owner, George, says, Gatto is big, we're good, and we're easy to work with. Learn why George says what he says at GattoPlaters.com. That's GATTO Platers.com. Or call George at 800-290-1223. Gatto Platers, proud to sponsor AM 560's Feed the Children program. Find them online at GattoPlaters.com. It's true, you can't take it with you, but you can make sure what you don't take with you goes to the ones you love, not the government. And you can preserve a legacy by doing one of the most important things possible for your children and grandchildren. It's critical to realize that if you don't have an estate plan, everything you own, including your house, cars, and investments, could be tied up in courts for a year or more. It could cost your estate tens of thousands of dollars in probate and legal fees, plus double government taxation. Avoid this by learning estate planning essentials. Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group and host of the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard Saturdays on AM 560, is hosting a free estate planning workshop on Saturday, May 14th in Oak Brook Terrace. Tom's a featured expert on Fox Business, Fortune, and Money Magazine. To reserve your seat for this free estate planning workshop, call the Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-873-6326. That's 630-873-6326. 630-873-6326. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
By now, you know MJ Miller & Company as the jeweler to trust when trading in unwanted gold, precious metal, and diamonds. But did you know they also sell gold coin and bullion? Hey, this is important. Gold prices are on the rise, and so are the scams. Choosing the right gold dealer is almost as critical as the investment itself. Perhaps you're considering gifting a graduate with gold, be it a coin, bracelet, or bullion, or maybe you'd like to leave a tangible inheritance, one that will appreciate over time. Entrust MJ Miller with this very important purchase and rest easy knowing you are paying a fair price for your golden investment. Of course, MJ Miller is still buying unwanted metal and will write you a check on the spot. MJ Miller & Company is located at 123 West Main Street in downtown Barrington. They're open Monday through Friday until 6, Saturday until 5, and every Thursday until 8. 847-381-7900 or mjmillerjewelers.com.
Here's a quiz. Is identity theft just when someone other than you puts charges on your credit card? Nope, that's part of it, but identity theft is actually when someone pretends they're you for any number of undesirable reasons, like opening new accounts or a utility bill. Is it true that identity theft can't happen to you? Nope. 1 in 4 people have experienced identity theft. Will LifeLock help you more with identity theft than free credit monitoring will? Yep. LifeLock's proprietary technology detects a huge range of identity threats. And if you ever have a problem, one of our US-based agents will work to resolve it. So how'd you do on the quiz? Come on, how'd you really do? No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But with LifeLock, you get a versus a when it comes to identity protection. Membership starts at just $9.99 a month plus applicable taxes. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code NEWS to get 10% off now. LifeLock.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm hosting a credit enhancement and home buying seminar May 18th at Zany's Comedy Club in St. Charles. You should attend if you're credit challenged, filed bankruptcy, experienced a foreclosure or short sale, and would like to either refinance or purchase a home. You should attend if you'd like to learn how to secure the lowest interest rate when purchasing or refinancing a home. You should attend if you're tired of not being able to get your groove on because you're living in your parents' basement. More importantly, your kids should attend if you're tired of not being able to get your groove on because your kids are living in your basement. Go to PearlDavid.com, that's PERLDavid.com, to register for the May 18th Credit Enhancement and Home Buying Seminar at Zany's Comedy Club in St. Charles. The seminar is free and seating is limited, so go to PERLDavid.com now to register. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, 4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's not just Chicago. Palatine School District 15 inks a 10-year deal with its teachers. We'll discuss the curious case of that contract at 7:07.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Sunshine this morning, rain showers on the way for late in the day. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Schools across the country are being put on notice to let transgendered students use the bathroom of their choice. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the Obama administration is directing schools across the nation to adopt rules that will allow transgender students to use the bathroom that corresponds with their gender identity. Some school systems already have transgender bathroom policies, and this Washington State mother thinks there's no need for the government to intervene.
I feel that transgenders are going to use whatever bathroom they identify, no matter who says anything about it.
The Justice and Education Department sent a letter to to public school systems, threatening lawsuits and the loss of federal funds if they don't comply. But the letter does not contain the force of law. Dave.
Rachel, Donald Trump says it may be federal overreach.
But it's a tiny, tiny portion of the population. And it's become a massive story. I think this should be a state's issue.
This is the day after Trump met with House Speaker Paul Ryan trying to find Republican unity.
I thought it was a really good meeting, and I think over a short period of time, things will come together.
Ryan called Trump warm and genuine, but still is not ready to back him for president. A U.S. Navy commander has been relieved of his duties. He was in charge of a squadron where there was a boat that went into Iranian waters back in January. Sailors were briefly detained by Iranians and were shown in images on their knees and apologizing. They're expected to be okay. 2 police officers shot early this morning in Manchester, New Hampshire by a gunman who's still on the loose, so there's a manhunt.
Several schools here on the west side are closed today due to this active police investigation, and there is a shelter-in-place ordered for several streets on the west side as police continue to search for this armed suspect.
Jessica Reyes with Fox 25 in Manchester. The online bidding for the gun George Zimmerman used to kill Trayvon Martin in his infamous incident while on Neighborhood Watch in Florida has reached $65 million. But they don't look like serious offers. The top bidder listed as racist McShootface has a now deleted account. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Sunshine this morning, 50 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. No one hurt following a possible shooting on the Dan Ryan Expressway. State police tell us shots were fired last night near the 59th Street exit on the Ryan in Chicago. No vehicles were hurt or hit. Lanes were shut down for about 3 hours while troopers investigated. Chicago Public Schools bracing for deep cuts. CPS officials say principals have been warned that school budgets could be reduced by about 20% for the upcoming fiscal year. Mayor Emanuel's administration awards a $60 million towing contract to a company with a 26-year history of clout and questionable conduct. Sun Times says United Road Towing was the only bidder for the contract. The company has made more than $40,000 in political contributions in recent years to Alderman and City Clerk Susana Mendoza. A federal judge has sentenced the purported leader of a Chicago street gang to life in prison for murder and drug trafficking conspiracies. 47-year-old Nathaniel Hoskins led the Imperial Insane Vice Lords and ordered at least one murder. Chicago police are investigating as many as 6 officers to see if they lied on the witness stand during drug cases. The Tribune reports that judges in those cases found the officers' testimony not credible. Cook County State's Attorney's Office filed notices with defense attorneys that a judge found the officers' testimony false or questionable, but the newspaper reports that prosecutors did not routinely notify the police department about the judge's findings. Chicago sports, baseball on tap today. Pirates and Cubs at 2:20. Sox take on the Yankees later on tonight. Chris Sale going for his 8th win of the year. The news service of TimeshareExitTeam.com. Do you feel like you're trapped in your timeshare? Get out now, safely, legitimately at TimeshareExitTeam.com. They will get you out or give you a full refund. 844-321-EXIT. 844-321-EXIT. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity can read between the lines.
There is a strategy that has emerged among all of these prominent Republicans that they want to bring in a white knight candidate, an outsider. They want another person. And you want to know why? Because if you're a Cruz supporter, they think you're stupid. If you're a Trump supporter, they think you're stupid.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, let me introduce you to my really good friends at Guardian Security Services. Talk about passion. Man, these guys get it. They provide on-site security officers to a wide variety of businesses in Chicagoland. Gated communities, colleges, financial institutions, you name it. Guardian Security Officers are on-site forming lasting relationships. They're so passionate about exceptional service, their client retention ratio is over 95%, and they just celebrated 41 years in Chicago. They thoroughly screen every applicant, typically only accepting 5 out of 100 officers. They hire the best, so you have the best. Easy to reach and backed by a 24-hour service center and exceptional training. If you're unhappy with your on-site security or door staff or anticipate a need in the future, man, contact Guardian Security Services. Tell them Joe Walsh sent you. Call right now, 708-385-3300. That's 708-385-3300.
It's the Ready to Ride sales event and time to gear up for your ultimate thrill ride. Hit the open road on a Can-Am Spyder. With its unique Y-frame design, your confidence will only be exceeded by your exhilaration. Hurry in by May 31st and save up to $2,500 on select 2015 Can-Am Spyder models, plus get great financing. Get ready to ride because the fun starts now.
Visit iMotorsports in Elmhurst or online at iMotorsportsinc.com.
Subject to credit approval. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
People all across the country are enjoying the flexibility of working when they want, earning extra money on their schedule when they drive with Uber.
With Uber, you can write your own paycheck. You sign up, you get approved, and you start earning money right away. Right away, like the next day. Turn it off when you want to make money, you turn it off when you don't. It's just that simple. What are you waiting for?
Enjoy the flexibility of working when you want, earning extra money on your schedule. Sign up to Drive with Uber today. Go to drivewithuber.com. That's drivewithuber.com.
7:06. It is time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. In our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Edens, traffic is stop and go from Peterson to the junction. 26 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 25. Kennedy, 35 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 20 from Montrose, 12 on the Express. Now outbound 35 minutes to the airport. The Eisenhower's an hour and 18 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, hour and 5 minutes from Mannheim. Outbound 43 minutes to Thorndale. The Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, an hour from the Tri-State. Outbound 39 minutes to 355. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, bottled up from the 83rd Street toll to 47th, and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway jammed. Bartlett Road to Roselle, there's a crash in the left lane. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Turning cloudy today with late afternoon rain and a thunderstorm with a high 66. Rain in the evening, then clouds breaking. Tonight, low 40. Clouds and sun tomorrow, windy and cooler with a high 52. Clear tomorrow night with a low of 36. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
50 at O'Hare, 52 along the lakefront. Next news coming up at 7:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I think we had a very encouraging meeting. Look, it's no secret that Donald Trump and I have had our differences. The question is, what is that we need to do to unify the Republican Party and all strains of conservative wings in the party?
I think for the most part we agree on a lot of different items, and we're getting there.
There's never 100% unanimity in anything. Like Reagan said, my 80% friend is not my 20% enemy. We believe that.
Have you met with the FBI about the emails?
Well, as I've said, I can't comment on an ongoing investigation.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, apparently, Amy, School District 15, the school board there is insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain.
Insane in the wall.
They got no brain. Went insane. They signed a 10-year contract. 10 years.
Why are you?
Wow, a 10-year contract with the teachers. A 10-year contract.
I've never even heard of that.
The question is, how much does the school board in Palatine, School District 15, hate their taxpayers? Apparently a lot. This is not like, we extracted such concessions from the teachers union that we wanted to lock it in, borderline in perpetuity. No, the 2.5 to 4% raises per year.
How much?
2.5 to 4% raises per year over 10 years. You don't, in this financial climate where, oh, by the way, we pay the highest property taxes in the state, of any state in the nation, you really want to lock in for a decade those kind of financial obligations?
Better have a very strong tax base.
They must have predictive power that is not possessed by Nobel Prize winning economists. I mean, honestly, in terms of what the world is going to look like, what your district's going to look like, what the economy is going to look like, a decade from now, this is just bizarre. To help us try and understand what the thinking could have possibly been, we're now joined by Tim Millar. He's a former, I'm sure he wants us to emphasize former, District 15 School Board President. He's now a Palatine Village Council member. Tim, thanks for joining us.
Sure, thank you.
So can you help us make sense of this?
It's difficult. The only explanation, I guess, was budget certainty. But obviously income certainty is not there.
Budget certainty. How about financing that budget certainty?
Exactly, yeah. One of the big challenges, obviously, or one of the taxpayer hits is it guarantees maximum increases every year. There'll be no help for the taxpayer because they'll have to levy above the CPI, including all the new construction to try to pay for this.
Well, with this new contract, does it almost guarantee that property taxes are going to go up in Palatine?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to go
up. By how
up.
much? I mean, that's because there are some huge homes, palatial estates in Palatine.
Those homes are going to be empty.
Inverness. Pardon?
Those homes are going to be empty.
Yeah, fortunately, they're tax capped to some extent. I believe they'll also try to increase with a referendum doing bonding as well. They've already bonded out pretty much, maxed out that levy. So it's not good news. I mean, it really puts the taxpayers, in a tough position, as well as the district, going forward. There's no way you can predict legislative changes as well.
But precisely. So taxing and spending and borrowing and spending, it's been working so well at the state level. Why not bring it to the local level? I wonder what other details do we know about this 10-year deal as it pertains to the benefit side, like health insurance?
Yeah, health insurance is the scary part.
That's the scary part.
That's one of those things that actually goes up quite a bit more than CPI on average. And with this, it looks like they're locking in the plan as well as the contributions, which I don't know of any other government agency that could do that.
What was the thinking behind this, though? A 10-year contract? Was there some fear that teachers would leave District 15 and go somewhere else?
I don't believe that's it. Unfortunately, District 15 has had, a history of quite a bit of politics, which is not uncommon, of course, on school boards. So I'm not sure if they were just trying to tie future school boards' hands by going long on the contract.
Well, what is the nature of the school board there? I mean, or do they have a school board at all? Or did they just have like kabuki theater where one union representative negotiated with the other union representative and they came up with this very nice deal for themselves?
Yeah, I mean, right now it does appear to be a less independent school board than we've had in the past. We had, big change years ago. When I was on the board, we were able to get a lot of independent people as opposed to, the typical inside candidates. And right now, unfortunately, the inside candidates are in charge of the board and actually have the entire board. So.
And the inside, are we talking about like teachers union backed school board members? Is that one of the issues?
Correct. I mean, we even have a retired superintendent in our high school district on that board who was appointed by the regional superintendent, even though he lost big in that election.
Now we're starting to get to the bottom of it.
Now, why aren't you on the school board anymore?
I thought it was in great shape when I left. We had a great contract. And it was time for me to move on. I've always had an interest in the municipal side little less stressful, too, on the municipal side.
I can imagine, but this is one of those cautionary tales about, the school board isn't sexy, doesn't pay anything to be a board member, but if you don't pay attention, there are interested parties that play the concentrated benefits diffuse cost game to your detriment.
Exactly, and in the district, I mean, we have 1,200 employees. So in an election where there's only 3,300 votes that in the last couple that have won the election, it makes it very difficult for outside candidates.
Has there been any public outrage over this? I mean, how many parents or taxpayers attended the meeting when the deal was approved?
There is. There has been quite a bit of outrage. I've had a lot of emails from ex-officials, from, experts in the field, asking, what can be done. And unfortunately, the only thing that can be done is at the ballot box in the future, but now you have to wait 10 years.
I mean,
to do anything, which is incredible.
We're talking to Tim Millar. He's a former School District 15 school board president up there in Palatine. He's a Palatine Village council member now. Talking about this 10-year contract School District 15 struck with the teachers union. State Representative Jeannie Ives, she's a Republican for you, and she has a good idea. She's introduced legislation that hasn't gone anywhere, but it doesn't mean it couldn't be potentially adopted at the local level. And it would require a 14-day posting and one public hearing prior to the ratification and vote on a collective bargain, on a collectively bargained agreement. Boy, that would be helpful, wouldn't it? Because then there would have been a little bit of appraisal of the community. So 14 days, you've got a chance to understand what's in a potential deal, and you've got then 2 weeks to make your position known, your voice heard, before your duly elected representatives take it up.
It would be interesting. I mean, there's obviously pros and cons to that. We've always been counseled, that we always have to watch out for the labor acts. That it would be an unfair labor practice if we agreed to something at the table and then took it off later. The timing of the votes with the teachers union, but it definitely would be positive to have those kind of things ahead of the vote for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, boy, this is really something.
One of the other items
sorry, go ahead.
I mentioned too with the agreement is retirement incentives. It's kind of a creative way to get around the state law they've come up with, which is basically doubling the sick days at the end of career. And what that allows them to do is kind of juice the pensions by retiring early.
That's part of this deal too?
It is. They've doubled it from 12 sick days to 24, which is incredible.
So you just pile up the sick days, and as you say, you don't work, but you juice your pension for the rest of your life.
Right. You get to retire 2 years up to 2 years early, and the state pays your pension then for those extra 2 years.
I'll tell you what, when this contract expires in the year 2342, why don't you just tell the teachers union, look, we're just going to write you a blank check. You guys just fill in the numbers there, or tell the school board to tell the teachers, let's not even go through the pretense of collective bargaining or negotiation. Just give us a number, and that's what we'll pay, and we'll tax and spend and borrow and spend to get to that number. I mean, it truly could not be much worse than this contract based on what you've outlined.
Yeah, we'd like to see all the details, but I'm sure it's not as great as what they're portraying it to be with the average increases and things like that. I'm coming up with much higher numbers. So
he is Tim Millar, former School District 15 board president up in Palatine, current Palatine Village council member. Tim, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Football lovers, pay attention. The way you play the game is changing. We'll explain. But first, here's your forecast. Enjoy right now. Plenty of sunshine, but some real nasty stuff is heading our way. Severe thunderstorms late this afternoon, a high of 66 degrees. Then we're going to have a cool down this weekend. Saturday and Sunday, both mostly sunny skies, but windy, cooler. A high Saturday of 52. On Sunday, a high of 56 degrees. Let's get the latest on the travel times. Here's the best in the business, Jim Talamonte.
Well, thank you, Amy. Very kind. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. It's already nasty on the roads, especially the Eisenhower and the Stevenson. The Ike is an hour and 18 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, just really clogged up from Wolf to Kedzie. It's an hour and 5 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 43 minutes to Thorndale. The Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 39 minutes. Eden's 26 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose. Outbound 25. Kennedy's now 40 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 35 minutes. Ryan 30 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Northbound Tri-State slow 95th to 87th. Archer to the Hinsdale Oasis, sent from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Adams Tollway jammed 59 to before Roselle due to an earlier crash. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I have struggled with irritable bowel syndrome for 40 years. Really struggled with it. And I want you to know that since I have been taking Balance of Nature, I don't have it anymore. After 40 years, I'm 75 years old, and after 40 years of struggling with this, and, early on taking all kinds of medication and this, that, and the other thing, back in October, I was able to cancel my appointment with the gastroenterologist. Your products have made my life. They have improved the quality of my life so tremendously. I can't be grateful enough. So please thank you all, and please, if you ever have a chance to, please thank Dr. Howard.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Running a business is tough these days. From a president who claimed it,
you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
To the mountains and mountains of taxes and regulations here in Illinois. But many companies, big and small, have persevered, serving their customers and communities. If that's you and your business, then AM 560 The Answer wants to celebrate your success and tell your story. It's the AM 560 Business Tour 2016, presented by Signature Bank. This spring, Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson will be broadcasting live from businesses in Illinois with success stories of overcoming the odds and thriving in spite of the challenging business environment. If your company fits this description, then we want to know about it so we can consider broadcasting from your location. Tell us your story. Visit 560theanswer.com/business and submit your information. That's 560theanswer.com/business. Sponsored in part by Flex Execs Management Solutions.
CertaPro painters are here for every stage of your life, from moving into a new home, creating the ideal nursery, to reinventing your living space. CertaPro painting experts create the perfect setting while you do life. They came to our home and brightened our walls and our moods so very quiet they wouldn't wake a baby. But the best part? They clean up after themselves so you don't have to do it. And now that spring is here, it is the perfect time to spruce up your home's exterior. Take a look at your home. Do you see chipping, peeling, fading? Well, leave it to CertaPro painting experts to refresh, renew, and protect your biggest investment, your home. Now is the time to call for your free estimate and schedule your exterior painting project. 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA. That's CERTA with a C. Or visit CertaPro.com today. CertaPro.com. CertaPro painters, we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, yeah.
Pop Warner spinning in his grave.
Why, Dan? They're just changing the rules of the game. They've announced this morning that
Changing the game.
Well, this could have a ripple effect, that's true. But Pop Warner is eliminating kickoff returns. No more kickoffs because a lot of players were getting injured because people on the opposing team were running so fast and tackling them, and there were some concussions, some broken collarbones, some other broken bones that they decided to eliminate. They say it's adding another layer of safety to the game of football.
Why don't you just remove Devin Hester from the record books then? Pop Warner. Huh?
Pop Warner.
Why don't you remove Mel Gray?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
From the record books.
Yes.
They never played the game.
No, Devin Hester would be nothing if that had
infiltrated
into the NFL, which is coming to the NFL.
What about punt returns?
Not. You know what? This is not.
There's one. I got fair catch. The The
Ow,
kickoff.
I told you not to hit me so hard.
What about the kickoff and the punt return specialist?
Yeah, that might be eliminated soon. I mean, at least at the Pop Warner level, 225,000 football players in that program nationwide, and they're going to have to learn the new rules.
Yeah.
So what are they?
Why don't they just get rid of pads?
So they're just going to
have,
give them the ball at the 20-yard line and say, here.
Yeah. Why don't they give them get rid of all the pads and just have them run around in skirts while they're at it? That's what this is.
They say eliminating kickoffs at this level, as I mentioned, adds another layer of safety without changing the nature of this great game.
It's changing the nature of the game.
Yeah. We're excited to look at the results at the end of the year as we explore additional measures. So instead of kickoffs, the ball will be placed at the 35-yard line at the start of each half and after each score. And all the tiny mite leagues, which is 5 to 7-year-olds. 5-year-olds are playing football. And the Mighty Mite League, 7 to 9, and the Junior Pee-wees, which are 8-year-olds to 10-year-olds. Junior Pee-wees.
Wasn't that a tweet from Anthony Weiner? The issue of the kickoff, it materially changes the game. And frankly, John Cass may turn out to be right, and I can't stand that I have to say that.
What did you say? Who's right?
John Cass.
Yeah.
In
he doesn't like me.
In 2 generations,
Mm-hmm.
football is going to cease to exist.
Oh, I know. It's. You should see how many people are trying out for soccer now. I told you my friend.
We're all going to be European surrender monkeys.
My friend's son goes to New Trier. 92 kids tried out for soccer, and in football, everyone who tried out made it. But you have to play offense and defense because they're short so many players. Now listen to this. Pop Warner also announced yesterday a further reduction of contact time in practices across all divisions. So you can run up, but you can touch, but you can't push. And they're now going to restrict contact to approximately 25% of practice time, and it was previously 33%. Now I know there's some coaches out there who don't follow those rules, but that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Listen, as someone who played high school golf, I'm outraged by what's happening to football.
No, but eventually it's all going to be flag football, really.
Yeah.
If you think about it, that's what it'll be. You'll run up to them and then you'll pull their flag down. Ooh, excuse you.
Wow. That's not a metaphor. So it's perfect, though. It actually is perfect. It's powder puff football for the powder puff generation.
Baseball begins in the spring, the season of new life. Football begins in the fall when everything is dying.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You know the name Barbara Walters. Now remember the company, Ameritrust Mortgage.
Ameritrust Mortgage was formed along with a talented professional staff that makes your mortgage process easy, swift, and cost-efficient for you, the home buyer, and for those who refinance. Ameritrust is all-inclusive, start to finish, the way lending should be. At Ameritrust, we believe it has been our privilege to have helped thousands of people over 30 years with purchasing or refinancing their home. We are here to help. Let us customize a loan program for your specific needs, FHA, VA, or conventional. At Ameritrust, the responsibility belongs to me. It's my name on the door. I am the president. I am Barbara Walters. Call Ameritrust now, 815-459-7303. Again, that number is 815-459-7303, or visit us at am560myhome.com.
Ameritrust Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee number 720, NMLS number 217229.
Business owners, I want you to stop and think about the one part of your organization that you simply cannot live without. What comes to mind? Your employees, your location, your customers? How about your technology? Let's face it, everything rests on your network running smoothly and efficiently. That's where Turnkey IT comes in. They understand the value of your network and the critical role it plays for your company. They'll keep your network up and running and resolve any problems, even on the weekends, so that you can focus on the important things. Turnkey IT's team of professionals will respond to you quickly. They won't roll their eyes when you ask them questions or try to dazzle them with their confusing technical jargon. So this spring, Turnkey IT is offering a free security audit. So even if you have an IT guy, this free security audit will help you understand if they're keeping your data safe from viruses and hackers. So here's what you do. Visit turnkey.pro today to schedule your free, and I do mean this, your free security audit, and mention that Amy sent you. That'd be me. Tell them I sent you. Go to turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, yeah. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, we get the truth from my ex-principal, Troy LaRaviere.
Tiny Dancer's least favorite former principal in CPS.
And we have to tell him about his replacement. But first, let's go into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. The Obama administration sending a directives going directly to schools this morning, the public schools of the nation, telling them they must allow students to use bathrooms and locker rooms consistent with their chosen gender identity. Donald Trump on Fox this morning saying he believes it is a states' rights issue, not a federal government problem.
I think this should be a states' issue. It's become a huge story, and yet it affects, and everybody has to be protected if it's one person, but it's a tiny, tiny portion of the population.
The directive does not have the force of law, but it does come with a threat of the loss of some federal funding. Bernie Sanders not budging this morning from his vow to contest every state until the end of the presidential primary season, and that's starting to worry some top Democratic Party leaders and money men as presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump begins to take fence-mending steps. The doping scandal swirling around Russian athletes, with 2 Olympic gold medalists now denying allegations one day after they were named in a newspaper report that details state-sponsored cheating at the 2014 Winter Games in Sochi. ISIS has now claimed responsibility for an attack on a coffee shop north of Baghdad that killed 13 and wounded 15. No one hurt following a shooting on the Dan Ryan Expressway. State police say shots were fired last night near 59th Street, close to the exit. No vehicles were hit. Chicago Public Schools bracing for deep cuts. CPS says principals have been warned that school budgets could be reduced by over 20% in the upcoming fiscal year. Galesburg has long been known as having lead-contaminated water, but it's far from the only Illinois community with that problem. The Tribune found nearly 200 other public water systems in the state have test results that exceeded the federal EPA lead standards at least once in the past 12 years, including 12 systems in the Chicago area. Baseball on tap for the evening and afternoon as the Cubs take on Pittsburgh at 2:20. White Sox and Chris Sale and his 7-0 record take on the Yankees at 6:05 tonight. The news, a service of TimeshareExitTeam.com. Do you feel like you're trapped in your timeshare contract? Get out now, safely and legitimately at TimeshareExitTeam.com. They'll get you out or get you a full refund. 844-321-EXIT. 844-321-EXIT. 7:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager isn't sold on Donald Trump as a conservative.
Nobody was founded except the United States on the doctrine of limited government. And I not only don't see that as a principle in Donald Trump's campaign, I think that the government will expand its power. He will tell companies where they can move and can't move, as an example. That's pretty powerful government. Barack Obama didn't even go that far.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Tea times, golf outings, driving range, golf academy, brunch, dinner, weddings, banquets, receptions. Find and do it all at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Info online at BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
Here's a quiz. Is identity theft just when someone other than you puts charges on your credit card? Nope, that's part of it, but identity theft is actually when someone pretends they're you for any number of undesirable reasons, like opening new accounts or a utility bill. Is it true that identity theft can't happen to you? Nope. 1 in 4 people have experienced identity theft. Will LifeLock help you more with identity theft than free credit monitoring will? Yep. LifeLock's proprietary technology detects a huge range of identity threats. And if you ever have a problem, one of our US-based agents will work to resolve it. So how'd you do on the quiz? Come on, how'd you really do? No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But with LifeLock, you get a versus a when it comes to identity protection. Membership starts at just $9.99 a month plus applicable taxes. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code NEWS to get 10% off now. LifeLock.
7:35 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is the very latest on that morning commute with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound, Kennedy's a bit heavier with delays from the River Road toll to Ohio. It's 45 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 25 from Montrose, 20 in the Express, and outbound 45 minutes as well to O'Hare. Eden's 25 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 28. The Eisenhower's an hour and 10 minutes from Thorndale to downtown, outbound 48 minutes. The Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Bryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown, northbound Tri-State, slow 95th to 87th, Archer to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve, eastbound Adams Tollway bottled up 59 before Roselle thanks to an earlier crash. Traffic is a service of TrueCar. If you're ready to buy a new car, download the TrueCar app. Just configure the new car you want, see what others paid for it, and lock in guaranteed savings from TrueCar certified dealers. It's that easy. Save time and save money. Download the TrueCar app today. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Sun this morning, then clouds with rain and maybe a thunderstorm late this afternoon, a high of 66. Chilly, a rainy evening ahead, a low of 40. Currently 51 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, looks like, Amy, your former principal there, Troy LaRaviere, got out just in time. Story out yesterday that principals in CPS are bracing to lose 20% of their school budget. This, of course, because CPS is bankrupt morally and financially and every other way possible. And so you've got principals that are having to work with their local PTAs to try and make up the difference. That's going to be very difficult for some neighborhood schools. More of the same in terms of our conversation of what happens when you don't make ends meet in the organization that you run. And one of the most outspoken critics of the way the system has been run, and perhaps that's why he's
out of a job. Well, no, on home assignment.
I think we use the term, in this era, we use the term unlocked from his job. He's free.
He's free.
That is one of the most outspoken critics of the Rahm Emanuel administration and what's going on in CPS has been Troy LaRaviere, the former principal of Blaine Elementary, who's getting a standing ovation from one Amy Jacobson as he joins us now. Troy, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Hey, Amy.
Hi. I just can't tell you how much we miss you and how it really hasn't sunken in yet that you're probably not coming back to Blaine. But is that the case? Is there any hope, or can we hold on to hope that you might come back?
Well, it's an interesting, there's always hope that I can win this process or the administration could wise up. But, the interesting part is that, I'm running for president of the Chicago Principals and Administrators Association, which would have led to me leaving Blaine anyway in less than, a month or so. So, in about a month or so. And so, again, that makes this move even more odd, given the fact that if I win this election, I would have had to leave anyway.
Well, so explain to the layman, the Principals Association, what does that job entail that would have had you leaving the school?
It's not a union, but it would be the equivalent of one. We don't have sort of like bargaining power like a union does. It is a professional association of principals, and I would lead principals. I would help them to come together in their isolation. Right now, principals are very isolated. And to give them a voice in influencing policy. Principals have a perspective that is like no other. We are at the nexus of where policy is formed in legislatures and board meetings and where it's implemented in schools and classrooms. And so we have a perspective and we get to see the impact, both positive and negative, of every policy that the state legislature or the Board of Education comes down with. And yet our voices and our perspective is almost never taken into account in the policy-making process. And one of the major initiatives that I want to engage in as president, if I'm so fortunate, is to get principals' voices heard in that process. I've been talking to state legislators about setting up principal advisory committees. I've been talking to members of the city council about doing the same, and they've greeted the idea with enthusiasm. But, first things first, I have to win the election.
All right. Well, back to your dismissal from being principal. Why was it politically motivated?
Well, again, the Principals Association has been fairly weak over the past decade or so. They haven't had much of an influence on anything. I have been a very persuasive voice against many of the backward and incompetent policies that this administration has come down with. But I've been a lone voice. But the prospect of having me as president of the Principals Association and no longer being a lone voice, but getting principals across the district to create their own unified voice, I think was a very scary proposition to CPS, and that's why they acted to move on me with such haste and recklessness.
Do you think that Rahm gave the order to get rid of you?
I think that the mayor's office, Rahm, he leads the mayor's office, but the mayor's office consists of quite a few people. And that office has as its major duty to serve the needs of the people who support, who put them in power. The mayor's campaign donors. When Sodexo Magic got an $80 million contract with CPS, and a couple of days later, they gave him $250,000 in his campaign. We know who runs the mayor's office, right? It's these contributors. And so there are people in the mayor's office who work on behalf of the people who funded and support him. And so it's that office. Who in that office, I don't know. Do I think the mayor makes every decision? No. Was he informed and briefed on it once whomever did what they were supposed to do? Toomey did it? Absolutely. They know he's going to be the public face. He's going to be the one that has to respond to it. He has to say, blah, 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 Shackman decree, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of whether or not he gave the order, I have no idea. But I know the decision came out of that office.
Is what you're describing, what you just characterized with respect to the mayor's office, what you're talking about effectively when you talk about the corruption in that office and maybe with this mayor?
Absolutely. Everything from the Seuss contract where they spent $20 million on the worst professional development.
Oh, yeah, you had to go to that for the weekend, right?
Right. And of course, Barbara Byrd Bennett was later indicted for that. I was the first and only active CPS principal. As a matter of fact, the first and only active CPS employee to speak out against that 2 years before they indicted her. They gave me a warning resolution for speaking out, and 2 weeks after the warning resolution, she got indicted, but they never rescinded the warning resolution. You're supposed to commend people who point out waste and fraud, not punish them.
Right.
Yeah, well, you don't know how it works.
Whistleblower.
Yeah.
So did they put a gag order on you not to talk to the media?
No. There is this sort of unwritten rule that you don't talk to the media, that you're supposed to get permission. They say that it's board policy, but they always say that verbally to principals. It's board policy not to talk to the media. And it said verbally because it's a lie. There is no board policy that says you can't talk to the media. But I'm one of the few people who actually checked up on that to find out if it was true. And there is no board policy because, of course, there can't be a board policy because we have, as professionals, not only the right but the obligation to influence public opinion in terms of helping the public understand what makes a good education policy and what doesn't.
What would be would it help CPS and would it help empower principals to do things differently and to be able to do things differently if CPS was broken up into smaller units that and there was essentially even kind of competition that principal in Lakeview can do something a little bit different with testing policy and curriculum than a principal in South Shore, and that's okay. rather than kind of this Politburo style centrally planned system for 400,000 kids?
I don't think that's relevant here. You can have corruption on any level, a large level or a lower level.
Well,
you have to have systems in place. Corruption breeds incompetence. We are in the position that we're in because of corruption, and corruption can happen at any level, the national level, the state level, the local level. What we have to put in place are systems that ensure that big money gets taken out of politics. We have to do that.
So you think CPS can be run like it's run? I mean, in terms of the superstructure, centrally planned, 400,000 kids, 655 schools. We just need the right people in charge, and they'll make it work.
Well, see, there are examples like that all over the world. You know, every now and then they come out with these assessments, international comparisons of the United States to other countries. And we always lament that we're always mediocre. Our students don't score as well as theirs do. But one of the next things we never do is look at what those other countries do. And every single one of the countries and the nations that is ahead of us in terms of our student performance has a centrally planned large district. But one of the things they do differently, they're not corrupt. Like they actually use evidence to inform their education policy. They use the research. We don't use the research. We use ideas that businessmen pull out of the backs of their behinds, right? The choice theory, for example, there is no evidence whatsoever that improves students' performance. But if you go to Canada, if you go to Finland, if you look at all these countries that are ahead of us, they don't use theories like that have no evidence base behind them. They use the evidence, they use the research on what actually has been proven to work in school systems. And they give that, hold on, this is the important point, but then they, instead of forcing that down the throats of all of the smaller parts of the districts, they say this is the general guideline, and they give them the freedom to implement and improvise according to their own local circumstances. But there's a general rule that you follow. That has led to the most successful school systems in the world.
Well, there's so much there, but let me just bring it back to CPS. So you're saying that evidence, we've known for 40 years that kids best learn foreign languages in the primary grades, and yet most foreign languages are taught in CPS in the high school. So we know what the evidence is. We know that the centrally planned system ignores the evidence. So what's the problem in CPS? Why aren't we teaching foreign languages where we should be?
Again, I just said, centrally planned systems don't ignore evidence. Corrupt systems ignore evidence.
There's no businessman that's saying teach foreign languages in the high school rather than in primary grades like you should. That's not a businessman's proposal.
I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm saying the education bureaucracy that has controlled the system for the last 50 years and has Chicago as one of the worst school systems in the country consistently, particularly in particular neighborhoods, it is impervious to evidence. And you think that switching out Rahm for Daley for some other mayor is going to make all the difference? They're going to be the one that can make this system, centrally planned system, work? Before we even get into the ideas of there's no corruption in China or India, I mean, we'll just set that aside for now. But the mayor and a city council or a better superintendent are going to make this all work, and we're going to move to an evidence-based system someday? Doesn't seem like there's much inertia behind that proposition.
Well, that's our fault, right? We're the
citizens. It is.
We're the people who put these folks in office. If we, the citizens, get enough of this, if we stand up and we decide that we're going to put people in office who use evidence as a source of policy and not political connections as a source of policy, then we're going to continue this. No matter if it's a large level or a local level, corruption will continue to rule. And I didn't say these countries don't have corruption. I said the corruption doesn't seem to be the source of education policy. It doesn't seem to have made its way into the decision-making that happens in their school system because their school systems use evidence.
Do you think being featured in a Bernie Sanders ad helped encourage them to remove you from your principalship?
I mean, I don't know what the straw that broke the camel's back was. You know, my belief is that it was my candidacy for the Principals Association.
Okay. All right.
All
and
right.
then one more real quick question. Do they have any proof? Because an insider told me that you were using the CPS computer to write your blog and that you're posting social media and that they have time stamps to prove that you were doing that during work hours and that's against the guidelines and the handbook. Is there any truth to that?
I frankly don't remember when exactly I may have posted. I know I've certainly looked at. I mean, the blog is about professional education policy. It is part of our professional responsibility to make sure that the public knows and understands education policy. Just like, it's part of your responsibility to be up on the news. And so if you check the computer during the day in order to find out about the latest happenings and whatever, that's part of your job. It's part of my job to communicate with our parents. It's part of my job. I have a Twitter account. It's part of my job to take care of that. And so until I see the specific thing they're accusing me of, it's hard to answer that question.
Yeah.
But I would.
Yeah.
It's a witch hunt. I mean,
Look,
everybody principle does it.
That's the whole point. These are trumped-up charges. It's ridiculous.
It's stupid.
It's ridiculous, but this is what the Politburo does. Trumps up charges against people who step out of line. That's Chicago. Troy LaRaviere, former principal at Blaine Elementary. Troy, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck to you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Plenty of sunshine right now, but big changes coming this afternoon. We're going to have some pretty nasty thunderstorms here, a high of 66 degrees. On your weekend, it will be cool after the storms. Partly sunny skies both days, windy both days, and highs in the low to mid 50s. Let's see if there's anything exciting on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, Amy, there's good news on the inbound Edens in that it's light. It's just 21 minutes from Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 30. Kennedy holding for now at 45 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 50 minutes. But the Eisenhower's rough. An hour and 15 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, an hour and 2 minutes from Manheim. Outbound, getting heavier, 2:58 minutes. Post office to Thorndale. To Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. The Ryan is 33 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive delays, southbound Wilson to Fullerton and 18th to the Stevenson, northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State stop and go, 95th to 31st, and from the Reagan-Toyd, Grand Avenue curve, Adams Tollway very slow, Beverly to Roselle after a crash. There's one at Bartlett Road now in the right lane. And the Veterans Memorial has delays, 75th to the Reagan-Tollway and Army Trail to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
We're so excited about our sold-out golf outing at the Bolingbrook Golf Club coming up on Thursday, June 16th to benefit Operation Support Our Troops America.
If you weren't able to get in this year, don't worry. You can still reserve a tee time at the Bolingbrook Golf Club anytime this spring or summer by visiting BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
And thanks to the sponsors who are making our golf outing possible.
Remax Professionals, Charity Golf International, Dr. Amy and Associates, MJ Miller and Company Jewelers in Barrington, Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, and Pearl Mortgage.
Highland Park Ford Lincoln's in the house. Here's Alan Marty.
For 30 years, we've been making people happy with incredible deals and service.
We're the best Ford Lincoln dealers in town.
Because making people happy makes us happy.
No doubt. This is one happy place.
Heck, we just break into dance all the time.
We don't break into dance at the dealership.
Sure we do.
No, we really don't.
We could. Come on, Marty, dance with me.
The Highland Park Ford Lincoln Superstore. Call 1-800-984-9000 or go to alanmarty.com.
Admit it.
Okay, you're a lovely dancer.
Thank you. This is Alan Marty. Deal with us.
Hey, size matters. Look to the Italians. They made it happen. The Colosseum, the Vatican, the Tower of Pisa, and Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli Sandwiches. Yeah! Their signature subs are as big as your forearm, hefty and fully loaded with the highest quality deli meats on artisan bread. Their homemade Italian beef sandwiches are sliced paper thin, using their own family recipe. And if you can't choose between the burgers, wraps, or hand-rolled meatball sandwiches, then get them all. Feed your inner rock star. Eat amongst authentic rock and roll memorabilia while you enjoy the soundtrack of your glory days. Or pick up and go. Either way, Augie's offers fast, fresh, and affordable food. Even gluten-free options. Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, Carroll Stream or West Chicago. Be sure to visit augustinos.com for full menus and directions. And if the party's on at your house, look to Augie's for catering. Don't make it happen with Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli.
I'm Dan Proft with an upstream idea brought to you by the Illinois Policy Institute. 27. Illinois state employees, on average, receive total compensation 27% higher than their private sector counterparts. State employees made nearly $4,000 more in wages and $13,000 in benefits than private sector employees. More than half of state workers will retire before the age of 60 with a guaranteed state pension. The state is in a financial death spiral with ground impact imminent. So keep this in mind as Governor Bruce Rauner breaks off contract talks with AFSCME, the state's largest public sector union. AFSCME has been unwilling to give on its demands for annual step increases of 3.8%, in addition to annual general wage increases. The lowball estimate of the cost of what AFSCME demands is $1.6 billion. That's $1.6 billion more from Illinois families who already pay the highest property taxes in the nation. This is Governor Rauner's moment of truth. He ran for office saying he is not a politician. He said he is a businessman who will make the difficult decisions to turn around the state he loves. We're about to find out if that's true. For more Upstream ideas, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
AM 560, The Answer. And now, a moment of objectivism with Yaron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
What is unique about America, according to Ayn Rand? Most governments regard some men as sacrifices to others and society as an end in itself. They hold that a man's life belongs to society, which can dispose of him in any way it pleases. That any freedom is only by permission of society, which may be revoked at any time. The U.S. regarded man as an end in himself and society as a means to a peaceful, voluntary coexistence of individuals. The U.S. held that man's life is his by right, by moral principle, and by his nature. That rights belong to individuals and society itself has no rights. And the only moral purpose of government is to protect individual rights. This is what made America special. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Yaron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
Mark your calendar, Chicago, for Tuesday, June 7th at the Langham Hotel for the 5th Annual Atlas Shrugged Revolution Dinner. This event has everything: a worthy cause, engaging speakers including AM 560's Joe Walsh, a beautiful venue, and fantastic food. Plus, it's your chance to target your support of the Ayn Rand Institute for students in the Chicagoland area. Complete details are online at aynrand.org/Chicago. That's aynrand.org/Chicago.
Hi, I'm Lex Howard, CEO of Balance of Nature. Statistics show that most people will listen to this commercial 7 times before they finally purchase Balance of Nature. Don't be a statistic. Take action to determine your future.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. Best thing I ever got in my... It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life. Yeah, I tell everyone to get it, but everyone gives you a wise answer. Oh, just eat good food. Well, how are you going to eat 15 fruits and whatever? Unless you lived on a farm.
I'm doing well. I definitely have more energy, and there's a big improvement.
Begin giving your body the fruits and vegetables it needs every day. Accept and complete Dr. Howard's 120-day health challenge to earn a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Human trafficking has become the world's fastest growing crime, with over 27 million people enslaved, 2 million of them underage. The Abolitionist takes viewers behind the scenes as former CIA and Homeland Security agent Tim Ballard and his team of highly trained operatives risk their own lives to free innocent young victims from captivity. Tim Ballard believes God has called him to this work. Don't miss The Abolitionist, a one-day theater event, Monday, May 16th. Get your tickets today at fathomevents.com. It's rated PG-13.
Special announcement. The Big Home Remodeling Expo, a free home show that's open to the public, is coming to the DuPage County Fairgrounds, May 21st and 22nd. If you're looking to remodel your kitchen, bathroom, basement, or maybe get a new roof, flooring, windows, or siding, then this is the event for you. At this 2-day expo, you'll meet local and national contractors displaying their products and services. Get new ideas, set up estimates, and talk directly with contractors, many of which are offering huge discounts. Maybe you need a new furnace, state-of-the-art generator, or just a handyman. You'll find everything you need under one roof. Increase the value of your home and bring your friends and family. Not only will you get a free gift at the door, but come to the show between 10 a.m. and noon on Saturday, May 21st for a chance to win a key that could start a brand new Harley-Davidson. Remember, the DuPage County Home Remodeling Expo, May 21st and 22nd at the Fairgrounds in Wheaton. Get more information at homeshowevent.com. That's homeshowevent.com.
sunshine here in Chicago. Rain showers scheduled for late in the day. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Kids who are transgendered should use whatever bathroom they want. That's what the Obama administration is telling schools in letters going out nationwide.
The same law that protects children from discrimination based either on race or on gender now applies to gender identity. So transgender kids have that same protection, equating gender and gender identity as equally protected groups. This is a big change, although it's important to point out that nowhere in Title IX does the word transgender or gender identity appear. The DOJ doesn't think that matters.
Fox's Leland Vittert at the White House. Now, this is a directive, not an order. There's no force of law behind these letters. This is the day after the ACLU sued Marion County, Florida schools over a policy limiting students to using a bathroom of their born gender. There's a manhunt in Manchester, New Hampshire for a gunman this morning who shot 2 police officers at about 2 a.m. Both are expected to be okay. The search has closed some schools in Manchester, some residents told to shelter in place. 4 months after Iran briefly detained 10 U.S. Navy sailors, releasing footage of them on their knees and a video of one apologizing, the Navy takes action. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has this live.
Well, Dave, that action is the firing of the commander of those 10 sailors. His name is Commander Eric Rash, and the Navy says he's been relieved of his duties and reassigned, going on to say he failed to provide effective leadership, leading to a lack of oversight, complacency, and failure to maintain standards in the unit. Now, other sailors have been reprimanded for the incident. This is the first firing that's happened, and the Navy may not be done yet. The investigation into that incident is not over, and more sailors could be disciplined, Dave.
Tanya, 8 people in New Jersey will be filthy rich this afternoon when they come forward to claim and share the 6th biggest Powerball jackpot. They took the cash option, and if the loot is evenly split, each would get more than $47 million before taxes. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Mostly sunny, 52 degrees. It is 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. No one hurt following a possible shooting on the Dan Ryan Expressway. State police say shots were reportedly fired last night near the 59th Street exit. No vehicles were hit. Police are searching for a man accused of attacking a Northwestern University student. The man may have snuck inside a locked dorm, according to authorities who say the victim told officers the suspect hit her after she confronted him yesterday. The pair got into an argument inside her dorm in Evanston. The student was not seriously hurt. The lead lawyer on his defense team says former House Speaker Dennis Hastert will not appeal his conviction or his 15-month sentence in a hush money case linked to sexual abuse of students. That means the next step for the 74-year-old Republican is to report to prison. A federal judge has sentenced the purported leader of a Chicago street gang to life in prison for murder and drug trafficking conspiracies. 47-year-old Nathaniel Hoskins, according to prosecutors, led the Imperial Insane Vice Lords and ordered murders and oversaw drug sales on the city's west side. Employees at 2 separate massage parlors in west suburban Batavia facing charges of prostitution. Police say the 2 women were arrested following stings yesterday at the Superb Spa and the Gem Spa. Baseball on tap on your Friday schedule. Pirates and Cubs at 2:20, while the White Sox and Chris Sale take on the Yankees. The news service of Staples with new lower prices on ink and toner and in-stock guarantee. To ensure you always get what you need, in-stock guarantee applies to in-store selection only. Out-of-stock ink and toner will be ordered from in-store kiosk with $10 discount, plus free shipping. Limit 1 cartridge per customer. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. It is a service of Turnkey.pro. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, JCPenney lost money in its start to the year. Penny says sales at stores open at least a year were down, though just by a fraction. Bright spots for JCPenney, its Sephora relationship, footwear, handbags, and men's clothes. Nordstrom is predicting a weaker year after its sales were down in the first quarter. Apple is investing $1 billion in China, in a company that is China's rival to Uber. Honda says it will recall 21 million more cars cars with Takata airbags. Honda and other car companies are picking up the cost for the defective airbags until Takata reaches agreement on how much it will pay. Honda lost money in its first quarter. Oil and natural gas driller Penn Virginia is filing for bankruptcy reorganization. The company is blaming plunging prices for oil and natural gas. The Dow was up 9 points yesterday, NASDAQ down 23. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Personal finance is 80% behavior, 20% head knowledge.
Dave Ramsey.
The reason you're in debt is behavior, not math. The way you get out of debt is behavior, change, not math. You can't borrow your way out of debt. How many times have you heard someone say, I had a whole bunch of credit card debt and I paid it off by getting a second mortgage? You didn't pay it off. You moved it.
The Dave Ramsey Show. Weeknights starting at 7, right before Michael Medved at 10. Presented by Wintrust Community Bank on AM 560. The Answer.
It's the Ready to Ride sales event and time to gear up for your ultimate adventure. Enjoy summertime fun on a Can-Am ATV, side-by-side, Can-Am Spyder, or Sea-Doo watercraft. Hurry in by May 31st and save up to $2,500 on select 2015 models. Plus, get great financing. Get ready to ride because the fun starts now.
Visit Maxim Power Sports in Merrillville. Subject to credit approval. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. For safety and training info, contact the ATV Safety Institute.
Thousands of people are choosing to drive with Uber. That's where the riders are. So drivers have less downtime, are busier making more trips, earning more money.
I choose to drive with Uber because of the money and flexibility. I'm my own boss. I get to do what I want, when I want, and still earn extra money. Driving with Uber is the smartest thing I've done.
Earn the extra money you need. Just an hour or two a day and the money adds up fast when you drive with Uber. Get started today. Take 2 minutes and sign up right now. Go to drivewithuber.com. Drivewithuber.com.
8:06 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. It's no casual Friday in the Eisenhower. Looking at an hour and 20 minutes from Thorndale to the post office, an hour and 5 minutes from Manheim, and outbound now 40 minutes to Manheim and 55 to Thorndale. The Edens is good. 19 minutes late, Cook to Montrose, but outbound now 30 with scattered delays out to Winnetka Road. Kennedy, 50 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 45. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State stop and go 87th to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway jammed, Beverly to before Roselle. The Reagan Tollway is looking good. The Veterans Memorial has slow traffic. Fountain to the Reagan Tollway, and Army Trail to 290. Southbound St. Charles to Roosevelt. Indiana Toll Road has the usual construction delays. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte. AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, some sun, then turning cloudy with rain and a thunderstorm late this afternoon, high 66. Evening rain, then clouds breaking tonight, low 40. Clouds and sun tomorrow, high of 52. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
52 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MJ Miller & Company Jewelers. All that glitters is gold at MJ Miller in downtown Barrington.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I think we had a very encouraging meeting. Look, it's no secret that Donald Trump and I have had our differences. The question is, what is that we need to do to unify the Republican Party and all strains of conservative wings in the party?
I think for the most part we agree on a lot of different items, and we're getting there.
There's never 100% unanimity in anything. Like Reagan said, my 80% friend is not my 20% enemy. We believe that.
Have you met with the FBI about the emails?
Well, as I've said, I can't comment on an ongoing investigation.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Did you hear Sid Blumenthal? At least he said investigation.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a
instead of,
security inquiry anymore. It's an investigation, so he concedes the point.
He laughed like it was just a silly little question.
And Paul Ryan talking about strains of conservatism. It sounds like a virus.
Strains of Zika virus, strains of conservatism.
Yesterday, we played this. The former speechwriters, John Lovett, and the other giggle bug, John Favreau. Speechwriters for President Obama were on with Charlie Rose, and they were yucking it up about their speechifying and what they find most interesting about it. And here's what they had to say.
The joke speech is the most fun part of this, but the things I'm the most proud of were the more serious speeches. I think healthcare, economic speeches, and I think
Lovett wrote the line about if you like your insurance, you can keep it.
How dare you? Huge impact. And you know what? It's still true. No. Yeah.
Oh, boy. It's not.
It's all just empty rhetoric. Proof right there.
No, it's all
just headline writers.
Comedic fodder. Apparently, there are no men that have been hired in by the Obama administration. They're just these effete giggle bugs. But maybe the American people get the last laugh. The latest opportunity is yesterday a federal district court judge found that Obamacare is being funded unconstitutionally. Specific subsidy within Obamacare was not appropriated by Congress, and so it cannot be spent by the executive branch. A bit of a victory, at least a temporary one, for House Republicans who have pursued legal action against Obamacare. And to get more on the importance of this decision and the prospects for a repeal and replace and what that would look like, we're now joined by an expert in this field. He is Ovik Roy, Senior Fellow at the Manhattan Institute. Ovik, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good to be with you this morning.
And so your perspective on that judicial decision yesterday?
Well, basically, it's like a number of things that the Obama administration has done where they've gone around Congress and tried to shuffle money into Obamacare, even though Congress explicitly did not allow for money to be spent in that way. So in that sense, it's a case where this particular judge sided with Congress and said that the White House didn't have that authority. The problem is that when they appeal this case, it's going to go to the D.C. District Court of Appeals, where the Obama administration has packed that court with left-wing judges that are probably going to side with the administration.
So was it unusual for the judge in that case yesterday to put her own decision on hold, knowing that it's going to be appealed?
It's not that unusual for judges to stay their rulings expecting appeal, particularly in cases like this where a ruling would be very disruptive. So not particularly.
All right, so the White House overstepped their boundaries in giving millions to Obamacare subsidies without congressional approval. Do we know by how many millions they did this?
I don't recall the exact number off the top of my head, but in terms of what was at stake in this lawsuit. Mm-hmm. But overall, it's several $billion where the White House has gone around Congress. Basically, what's happened in a number of cases is that actually the law says one thing, the Affordable Care Act says one thing about what authority Congress has and how much money should be spent. And Congress has tried to enforce those limits. And the Department of Health and Human Services, which is controlled by the White House, says, no, we're going to just take money from this pot that we control and shuffle it into that pot that we control, and you can't do anything about it. And that's basically what they've done to keep Obamacare afloat at times when it was struggling.
We're talking to Ovik Roy, Senior Fellow at the Manhattan Institute, also writes curator for the Apothecary blog at Forbes.com. And so thinking prospectively, if you have a President Trump and you have Republicans still in control of both chambers, what do you sense are realistic opportunities that could be pursued and should be pursued by Republican leadership to act in furtherance of their litigation from a legislative point of view to repeal and replace?
Well, I'm not optimistic that under President Trump we're really going to get to where we need to go on this stuff because, as you know, health care is so hard to change because everybody cares about it. Everybody has health insurance, or most people do, and people are really sensitive to how you change the system. It's very easy to demagogue. So if you don't have leadership from your president who's saying, we got to do it this way, and here's why I think this way works, it's very hard for Congress to act. Now, Paul Ryan is doing the best he can. He's been holding a lot of hearings. I just testified at one 2 days ago where Republicans are in the House of Representatives trying to work out exactly how you'd replace Obamacare. But unless Trump is with them on a lot of these issues, and we all know that Trump shoots from the hip on this stuff, it's going to be very hard for them to get anywhere.
But the good news is not only, people lose kind of attention to litigation that takes years and years, and that's just the nature of litigation. But between the ruling that came out yesterday that reminds people that this effort is underway, and what you're suggesting in terms of actual, at least Republican leadership in the House, game planning what a replacement would look like, how could we do this in terms of a more market-oriented reform to address the infirmities of Obamacare, that is politically, and do so in a way that's politically palatable. That is underway. So if they have the opportunity perhaps to present something with a bow on it for Trump to consider.
That is true. And by the way, you had asked earlier what the size of the illegal payments is. I found the figures. It's $2.8 billion in 2014 and about $7 billion in total through this particular program. On the question of Trump, look, let's hope that Paul Ryan, the House of Representatives, will put something together that can get to the Senate, and Trump can sign it. That would be great. But that's a lot of ifs, right? So first the House has to agree on something, which maybe there's more hope of. Then the Senate has to agree to it. And not only that, the Senate has to get through a Senate filibuster, right? So how many senators are there going to be on the Republican side in 2017? Right now there are 54, but most of the senators that are up for re-election in competitive states are Republicans. So it'll be really a remarkable thing if Republicans manage to maintain their majority.
Well, but let's just forget the politics for a second. If there was a single thing that they could get through or should focus on getting through that you think would have the biggest impact in terms of disentangling Obamacare, unpacking it, frankly, decimating it so there's an opportunity to do something that is better, what would that thing be rather than kind of, the 72-point plans?
Sure. I think it's I wouldn't think of it in terms of decimating Obamacare. I think of it in terms of liberating people from the government involvement in the healthcare system. And the simplest way to do that is to say there's all this money out there that's being spent by the federal government on health insurance. If they're going to spend the money, let people choose the kind of insurance they want to buy. Don't have the federal government tell people to buy specifically federally certified insurance that does X or Y or Z. Let people take those dollars and spend them to buy the insurance that they want and the health care that they want. You do that, you incur a revolution in the way we buy and receive health care service in this country.
Avik, has Obamacare benefited anyone?
Yeah, I mean, look, when you spend $2 trillion over 10 years, some people are going to benefit from that. But far more people have been harmed by the law than have benefited from it.
What are the long-term implications, not just in terms of quality of care, but quality of health care available if something along the lines of moving towards a scaling of health savings account or some other market-oriented reform are not pursued?
Well, if you go down the road that we're continuing to go, you have a situation where, particularly for doctors, the amount of bureaucracy that doctors have to go through to treat their patients is enormous. And what does that mean? That means doctors have less time to see as many patients as they could, and they're getting paid less to see those patients because of all the bureaucracy. You put all that together, and it means that doctors are only going to see the patients who can pay out of pocket, meaning higher income patients, or patients with really, really nice insurance, meaning patients who are employed by places that have really, really nice benefits. If you're on a government program or if you're on in a program where you don't have the access to that kind of resources, you're probably not going to get the access to care. So it's a two-tier system where the rich do well and the poor don't. It's like public schools, right? So, if you're stuck in an area with a bad public school and you're rich, you can send your kids to the private school. If you're poor, you have no choice. Healthcare will be the same.
Yeah, that's an interesting compare. What was your take on that Charlie Rose clip with the two Obama speechwriters on the whole laughing over the whole "if you like your health insurance, you can keep it" line that they came up with?
You know, it reminds me of that Ben Rhodes interview on the Iran deal. You know, same kind of thing. They're all because they're in the last year of the presidency. They're all laughing about all the things they did to pull one over the people. And I think, listen, that's maybe what politicians do and political operatives do. I think the people that really need to be held accountable are the people in the media who swallowed hook, line, and sinker the dishonesty of people in this administration and just accepted what they were saying when it was obviously wrong at the time and continues to be wrong.
He is Avik Roy, Senior Fellow at the Manhattan Institute, the curator of the Apothecary blog at Forbes. Avik, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine right now, so enjoy it because some nasty stuff, rain, thunderstorms coming our way later this afternoon, a high of 66 degrees. Then tonight, rain throughout the evening. And Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have no rain in the forecast, just windy conditions, a lot cooler, some clouds, some sun. A high Saturday in the low 50s, and Sunday, a high of 56. Let's see if there's any sunshine on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy, there is on the inbound Edens. It's delay-free. 19 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 25. But the Kennedy is now 55 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, little quicker in the Express. Outbound 45 minutes to the airport. The Eisenhower is an hour and 25 minutes from Thorndale to downtown, an hour and 10 minutes from Manheim, outbound 50 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State delays 87th to 31st and Roosevelt to the Grand Avenue curve. We have delays on Lakeshore Drive, southbound Irving Park to Fullerton, and 18th to the Stevenson, northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. I'm Jim Talamonte, Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Okay, this is gross, but did you know that 82% of all people don't know that you're supposed to change pillows every 2 years or less? Why? Because pillows absorb dead skin, dirt, skin oils, and dust mites that can cause allergies, acne, asthma, and who knows what else. So if you haven't already done so, you need a washable MyPillow, and so does your dad. Why? Father's Day right around the corner, June 19th, don't you know? And we still have the buy one, get one free offer. So go to MyPillow.com, type Amy, and the promo code, 2 pillows for the price of one. Keep one for yourself. Give one to dad. There's a 10-year warranty on that bad boy, and it's a great gift, and it's a healthy investment. And you'll sleep better, too. I know I do. That's why MyPillow is the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. Go to MyPillow.com, Amy, and that promo code. Or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201. Or online at MyPillow.com.
Running a business is tough these days. From a president who claimed it
You didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
to the mountains and mountains of taxes and regulations here in Illinois. But many companies, big and small, have persevered, serving their customers and communities. If that's you and your business, then AM 560 The Answer wants to celebrate your success and tell your story. It's the AM 560 Business Tour 2016, presented by Signature Bank. This spring, Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson will be broadcasting live from businesses in Illinois with success stories of overcoming the odds and thriving in spite of the challenging business environment. If your company fits this description, then we want to know about it so we can consider broadcasting from your location. Tell us your story. Visit 560theanswer.com/business and submit your information. That's 560theanswer.com/business. Sponsored in part by Flex Execs Management Solutions.
The weather is finally getting warmer, and it's a great time to appreciate America's national parks. And AM 560 The Answer is giving away copies of National Geographic's Guide to National Parks of the United States, as well as a Kids National Park Guide. One grand prize winner will also receive a National Geographic Parks library, a pair of binoculars, and a $100 gas card. So visit AM 560 mobile app now to register. Also, another giveaway for a chance to win a National Geographic Expeditions family trip to Grand Canyon, Bryce, and Zion National Parks. Visit www.nationalparkssweeps.com. That's nationalparkssweeps.com.
We're so excited about our sold-out golf outing at the Bolingbrook Golf Club coming up on Thursday, June 16th to benefit Operation Support Our Troops America.
If you weren't able to get in this year, don't worry. You can still reserve a tee time at the Bolingbrook Golf Club anytime this spring or summer by visiting BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
And thanks to the sponsors who are making our golf outing possible.
Remax Professionals, Charity Golf International, Dr. Amy and Associates, MJ Miller and Company Jewelers in Barrington, Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, and Pearl Mortgage.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, my God.
Dan and Amy, so yesterday, the White House, the regime, issued an edict, a letter that included a 25-page document describing, quote-unquote, emerging practices in places and many schools around the country. The letter and the emerging practices document to schools telling them that they should comply or implicitly face the ire of the Justice Department with respect to allowing students to use bathrooms according to the gender they identify as, use locker rooms, changing rooms according to the gender they identify as, regardless of what their biological gender is.
So basically, they're sending a message, Dan. They're kind of bullying in a place where, bullying is not allowed. Schools, they're saying, look, you better retrofit your locker rooms and your bathrooms right now. That's it. All public schools and public universities. So we're talking millions of dollars to change or even create a safe place for people to use the washroom.
Yeah. And
I mean, it seems crazy to me that our country has come to this. I mean, where are our priorities? I'd rather fight the Zika virus right now than to worry about this.
And, well, I mean, this is cultural. CPS, not teaching kids to read or do math, but they are teaching them about PGPs. Chicago Public Schools.
What's a PGP?
Pursuing, well, Chicago Public Schools are pursuing a GAA. And that
MEAN.
And that requires making sure that people are using PGPs.
What's a PGP?
If you want the GAA, you got to have the PGPs.
Why are we speaking in acronyms? It's the new thing to do.
Wait, doesn't everybody know this?
What PGP
Are
is?
these common acronyms? Gender affirming approach.
Okay.
That's the GAA. And then it's the preferred gender pronoun. That's the PGP.
Oh.
The PGP goes with the GAA.
Okay, DAN.
All right. And so you can use pronouns that transgender students and adults allow you to use. Common examples. Mm-hmm. Z.
What does Z mean?
I don't know.
What up, Z? How you doing, Z?
If you consciously use the wrong pronouns, if you're not using the PGPs and you're being obstreperous about it.
Obstreperous?
If you're if you're purposefully not using the PGPs,
that's a
to facilitate the GAA, then you can face disciplinary action because of your comprehensive because of discrimination, Title IX, and sexual harassment, all of which you would be violating. Appropriate consequences for offending staff and students will be meted out. So get ready. You better tell Peyton and Eli about this. Make sure they're using the PGPs. They want to get on board with the GAA, don't they?
One of my sons is okay with this, and my other son is so upset and does not want transgenders in the washroom with him.
Listen to this story. This comes to us from David French of National Review Online. There's a BBC documentary called Young, Trans, and Looking for Love.
Okay.
Listen to...
Oh, is this the Claire?
Yeah, listen to Claire. This is a young man who's living as a young woman and is trying to get straight young men to be interested in him, lamenting the fact that straight young men aren't interested in this man who's pretending to be a woman because he has, male parts.
Straight guys just can't get over you having the male parts. Once I had or get that surgery, I think it will change a lot for me because right now, if I meet a straight guy and he doesn't know, we can't get physical if I don't tell him, and then if he finds out, just things get so complicated that you don't even begin to explain.
Because she's a fraud. I mean, if she's passing herself off as a woman and she's really a man, that would come to some surprise. Isn't that what the premise of the crying game was?
Well, yeah, but I mean, this is the serious part of it. We can have a little bit of fun with the newspeak and the nonsense, but I mean, this is an example, as French explains in his piece, where the left is remarkably callous. You've got social justice warriors out there telling parents and mental health professionals that this gender dysphoria is immutable. And it puts them in a place that may be reconciling the pain they're experiencing by physically changing themselves, not fundamentally changing themselves. Still XY for Claire is going to do more long-term harm than good. French writes about Claire.
Mm-hmm.
A deeply confused teenager is on the verge of mutilating himself, of literally opening a wound that his body will consistently attempt to close for the sake of hoping to find love with straight men. The level of psychological confusion and pain is difficult to grasp, but rather than speak the truth to that young man and work diligently to counsel and mentor him, an entire class of people believe that he should irrevocably harm his own body, and the rest of us should believe a lie that he's really a girl. We talked to a parent of a transgendered child yesterday, and
his daughter's a son.
And you want to be sensitive to it, and these are difficult issues, but you also have to speak truth, and you also have to question what comes from the mind of a young person who is struggling, who is in pain, and the left doesn't want to have that conversation, and neither does the Obama regime.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Everywhere you go, the threat looms. It follows you no matter what you do. The longer you avoid the IRS and the financial difficulties you're going through, the closer they get to you. John DeWatt of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm can help you end the feeling of being hunted by the IRS. If you've avoided taxes or could benefit from the life-saving assistance of bankruptcy, it's time you call John DeWatt. This is an attorney who is willing to take on the federal government on your behalf. He has worked to discharge thousands of dollars in penalties, and he can help you settle your debts once and for all. Call 888-777-4193. Let the hunters become the hunted. Let John DeWatt of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm deal with the IRS personally. Call John for your own relief plan. 888-777-4193 or online at thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com. That's thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
Paul Ryan and Donald Trump are dating. Will it consummate into a meaningful long-term political relationship? We'll ask David Ferdoso from the Washington Examiner at 8:38.
And I finally found a dog for Dan Proft, and it was about to be eaten. We'll explain, but first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Following a developing story this morning in New Hampshire, where police there say they have just captured the man suspected of shooting two police officers. The officers were wounded in shootings at two different locations in Manchester. A southern Indiana man is in jail facing charges for allegedly threatening Donald Trump. New Albany, Indiana police arrested Richard DeVille Jr. after the Secret Service asked them to pick him up for questioning. Shell Oil says more than 2,000 barrels of crude oil have spilled into the Gulf of Mexico. The oil company says it is an isolated leak, and they have shut down production at the site about 100 miles off the coast of Louisiana. We've been talking about it with you this morning. The Obama administration telling the nation's public schools they must allow students to use bathrooms and locker rooms consistent with their chosen gender identity. It is a Education and Justice Department directive, but it does not have the power of law. RNC Chairman Reince Priebus says there was a good spirit in the room in the meeting between House Speaker Paul Ryan and likely GOP candidate Donald Trump.
Of every subject discussed, there was agreement. I think it was very personable. It was a gracious meeting.
Priebus on Fox this morning saying he sees yesterday's meeting as a positive step forward. The 17-year cicadas are coming again. Millions of them, not here in the Midwest. That's a different batch. This batch is in Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, and Maryland. Those unnerving red eyes, orange wings, and cacophonous mating song will drown out the noise of passing jet planes there for the next 6 weeks or so. Chicago Public Schools are bracing for deep cuts. CPS says principals have been warned that school budgets could be reduced by 20% for the upcoming fiscal year. The lead lawyer on his defense team says former House Speaker Dennis Hastert will not appeal his conviction or 15-month prison sentence in a hush money case linked to the sexual abuse of children. And employees at 2 separate massage parlors in West suburban Batavia are facing charges of prostitution. Police say 2 women were arrested following stings yesterday. Baseball on tap for the afternoon. Pirates and Cubs at 2:20. Chris Sale perfect on the season. He hopes to preserve that record tonight as he battles the Yankees. The news, a service of Napa Auto Parts. Stop by participating Napa Auto Parts stores through the end of the month and pick up the Evercraft 26-piece screwdriver set for $19.99. That's Napa know-how. 8:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says it's time for the GOP to come together.
You know the saying, pride goeth before the fall. So now it's time for people to man up, lose your pride, eat your crow, and unify for the good of the United States of America. Now it's time for the real fight to begin.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Sales drive your business. Customers drive sales. GoDaddy helps you drive both with memorable domains, online marketing tools, and 24/7 help. Go you. GoDaddy.
Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. You know, hormone balance is a big deal. If your hormones are out of whack, it can account for so many health challenges like low energy and fatigue, spaced out memory, low sex drive, otherwise known as the dead in bed syndrome. Nothing excites you anymore with you watching more and more TV every night, misusing food or alcohol, and then there's the hair loss that you thought was age appropriate, and then the weight gain. Let me tell you about our specially priced dirt cheap hormone test. No blood, just saliva. Interesting that with over 33 years in private practice, I've never seen normal hormone test results in the first go around. And that's why you need to have us help you balance your hormones once and for all. So call our HealthQuest radio hotline at 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. No blood, just spit. Call 800-794-1855. Oh, and be sure to listen to HealthQuest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11. But for now, call 800-794-1855.
Mike Rowe here for 1 hour. Today, Chuck is jogging in place to make a point about energy efficiency.
I thought I was training for a marathon.
He's been at it now for...
3 minutes.
And already he's wearing out.
I'm not.
Your heating and air conditioning systems are a lot like Chuck.
Warm yet somehow cool?
Wheezing, wasting energy, and probably headed for replacement.
You're talking about the air systems, right?
Sure, pal. Sure. Call 1 hour before it's too late.
Can you do the disclaimer for me?
Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Thanks.
Banks have been foreclosing on people's homes at an unprecedented rate. Enough is enough. It's time to fight back and level the playing field. The attorneys of Bridges & O and Associates have an intense understanding of foreclosure law. Experienced attorneys will passionately litigate against and negotiate with your bank for a permanent loan restructuring. They are proud to help educate and protect families, keeping you in your home, reducing your stress, and giving you time to get back on your feet. Don't just sit there and lose your home. They can put you back in control. Get the upper hand when negotiating with your bank with their free evaluation. Then Bridges & O and Associates will develop a plan that will help your family now, 3 months from now, 3 years from now, even 5 years from now. Call 224-513-1231 or visit FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. Get real answers from a real foreclosure defense law firm. 224-513-1231 or FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. Bridges & O and Associates. You have rights. Don't give up your home.
It is 8:38. Let's get a quick look at the roads in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Eden's 19 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose outbound 22. The Kennedy 50 minutes, O'Hare to downtown outbound 40. The Ike an hour and 25 minutes from Thorndale to the post office outbound 50 minutes. Stevenson an hour 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive outbound 40 minutes. The Ryan 30 minutes 95 to downtown. That's traffic. AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Sun this morning, late day rain and maybe a thunderstorm. High 66, 53 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas. Best beans, best roast, best coffee.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so Paul Ryan and Donald Trump met yesterday, and Paul Ryan said Trump is
spectacular,
warm, genuine, good cuddler.
His personality, I thought he's a very good personality. He's a very warm and genuine person. And so, yes, this is our first meeting. I was very encouraged with this meeting, but this is a process. It takes a little time. You don't put it together in 45 minutes. So that is why we had, like I said, a very good start to a process on how we unify.
Yeah, so it's no shotgun marriage, but they're in Deep Lake and they're courting.
Okay.
There's courting going on, and that's all positive.
And Donald Trump, he feels good, too.
I don't mind going through a little bit of a slow process. It's a very big subject. I mean, we have a lot of things. And I think for the most part, we agree on a lot of different items, and we're getting there.
It's a bit of a mad December romance, but I hope those kids make it.
I'm pulling for him, too, really.
I mean,
this bromance, I think it could be quite spectacular.
They haven't unified into one or two become one yet, but there's a process by which that's happening. Also, on the VP front, Donald Trump's shortlist just got a little shorter. Oh. I think his butler has been knocked out of the box.
Yeah, that guy.
Although he is being
vetted
of sorts by Secret Service.
Yeah,
right
Secret
now.
Service is investigating him this morning.
All right. Well, for more on the political implications of the big powwow yesterday, let's talk to our friend David Freddoso, political columnist for the Washington Examiner. David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
So on the response that Paul Ryan offered, that we're not going to just have a 45-minute meeting and we're unified and everything's great and full steam ahead. There's a process that has to occur between now and, I suspect, the convention. Should we take that at face value, or is there a subtext there that we should understand as well?
Well, I think the most important thing about this whole conversation is that it's happening at all. When's the last time a party nominated somebody who was, broadly unacceptable enough that the sitting speaker or the highest-ranking elected official in the party at the time couldn't just say, yeah, of course I support our nominee? That's the real issue here. Can they get through, this awkwardness and get past that? I think probably in the end, Ryan is going to endorse him, but he's having this sort of, danger Will Robinson moment right now about his own political future and about the future of his House caucus in this election with Trump running ahead of the rest of the ticket. The House has been spending a lot of this year, if you've seen Ryan out there giving speeches, trying to differentiate itself from the top of the presidential ticket in advance of Trump getting the nomination, I think because they're very afraid of what this election is going to bring.
Well, do you think that they brought Donald Trump to Washington, D.C. to see if they could control him? Is that a possibility?
Well, I don't think anyone can control Donald Trump. And it's a misconception to think that you can. He has so far, even right after this meeting was announced, the first thing Trump said was, well, I don't support Ryan either. He doesn't support me. I don't support him. That's a very Trumpy thing to say, but it's not the kind of thing that a major party nominee says. Trump acts by his own rules and he works by his own intuitions, and he doesn't follow the conventions of political campaigning that most people are used to. And that, on the one hand, it's part of the success story of his campaign, you could say, because he's sort of thrown those things aside and succeeded, and some people like that. On the other hand, it means that he's, doing all kinds of things that are making a lot of people not like him or take him less seriously.
It seems, though, that this is about maybe trying to encourage him, not control, encourage him to color inside the lines a little bit more. And you're always going to get that part of Trump that bristles anytime he's confronted, the kind of what you said. You don't like me, well, I don't like you either. But the flip side is there's been some good news that maybe some of the concerns, I mean, we're a long way away, I understand, but it doesn't look perhaps as dire as it looked a couple of weeks ago with some of the recent polling in swing states. In addition to that, Trump has started to kind of moderate his tone and provide some more contextual information on incendiary topics and positions he's taken, like the temporary ban on Muslims. So maybe there can be a little bit of massaging Trump to keep him within the boundaries, even if he's going to take personal shots at anybody who takes a personal shot at him.
Yeah, I suppose just about anything can happen. I wouldn't necessarily, like you said, I wouldn't necessarily put too much faith in one or two polls right at the moment when he is having his honeymoon period. At the same time, you're right. I mean, it is possible that some of these down ballot races will be salvageable in the fall, and that it won't be that bad, but it's still quite possible that it'll be as bad as everyone thinks. And I would put my money more on everything is as bad as everybody thinks it is, based on the conventional view of Trump and his popularity.
Who do you think would be the best running mate for Donald Trump? I mean, if you're trying to get in the never Trumpers and trying to attract them back to the party, back to Donald Trump, who would work?
What would be the best? I'm sorry?
Vice presidential candidate.
Oh, well, I don't think that, as I think your news blurb just said, that the numbers keep narrowing. I don't think there are that many people who want the job. I think it's going to end up being Mike Huckabee or Newt Gingrich, because that fits the profile of someone who, someone who is not planning on running an election anywhere ever again after this is over, someone who's done with politics for the most part, but will come back and do this one last thing. This is not the vice presidential ticket vice presidential slot on Donald Trump's ticket is not a way of setting yourself up for a political future.
That's what but if it came down to Gingrich or Huckabee, either one of them, I mean, that adds virtually no value other than, a sop to governing experience, which is not particularly compelling. That would be shocking. So you're saying that some of the other names that have been mentioned, or even ideas floated about who would really provide the most complementary benefit to Trump to deal with the various challenges that he has politically, whether it's demographically or regionally, that whole group of governors and senators that have been discussed, that nobody there would potentially it's potentially possible to be wooed.
Chris Christie could conceivably be chosen. I'm skeptical, but just yesterday Trump was saying Christie could still be on the list, but that's not a surprise or anything. I don't think that helps him with any particular demographic or geographic area either, because he's not winning New Jersey. It's just not going to happen. So, if you wanted to talk about other governors who might do it, you'd start talking about Paul LePage, who I think there's almost zero chance. It's crazy. But no, I don't view this as a selection process that's going to depend on choosing somebody because, he can win at this state or whatever. I don't, either Trump as a package works and he is winning in all kinds of unexpected places and it's amazing, or it's what everyone expects, which is he gets killed everywhere and it doesn't matter, your attempt to pick Governor so-and-so because you wanted to win his state was sort of a waste of your time. It's one or the other with Trump. And, I think it's the other, but if you want to hold out hope that maybe it's the one, I think the way to think about this is that he's going to pick someone who's going to say yes, and there aren't that many people who are going to say yes.
Interesting. What's the Beltway buzz on Cruz folding in? Is there going to be a Trump overture to Cruz a la Paul Ryan to fold him in and get his backing? Is that possible?
Cruz seems to be taking a much more anti-Trump line now than he did during his campaign. So I think it's going to be, I don't really know that Cruz wants that much to be courted, or that he will accept. I think that he feels like he is going to have to do some atonement for some of the things he said early in the campaign when he praised Trump and possibly some people argue helped him. And I think that he, like Ryan, though it'll be manifested differently, he is interested in making sure the conservative brand does not get swallowed by Trump, that the public sees there's a clear difference between these two groups or these two idea sets, and that conservatism's survival going forward after this election could depend on that.
He is David Freddoso, political columnist for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. David, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
And he joins us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine right now, but some rain, thunderstorms moving in later this afternoon, early this evening. That could be nasty. A high of 66 degrees. And then over the weekend, we're going to have partly sunny skies both days, but it will be cool, breezy, windy. A high Saturday of 52, a high of 56 on Sunday. Let's get the travel times. How's that inbound Kennedy doing?
Well, Amy, it's not too bad. It's kind of the norm for this time of the morning, but it should start improving now as we approach 9 o'clock. The delays are from Foster to Ohio, 50 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 30 from Montrose, same on the Express. Outbound, 40 minutes downtown to the airport. The inbound Edens is clear, 19 minutes Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 21. The Eisenhower is still brutal, an hour and 25 minutes Thorndale to the post office. It's an hour and 5 minutes from Manheim, outbound 50 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, 1 hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive, southbound slow Irving Park to Fullerton, and 18th for the Stevenson. Northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State, so Archer to LaGrange Road, from the Stevenson to 31st. The Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway slow Roselle to 53. Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Former CIA agent Tim Ballard runs operations around the world rescuing children from human trafficking. He appears in a new documentary, The Abolitionist, which is being released this coming Monday, the 16th. Now, The Abolitionist follows Ballard as he frees children in Haiti and Colombia. You have to see this documentary. If you'd like to see it, visit fathomevents.com. That's FATHOM events.com to purchase tickets. Again, this is a one-night only event, Monday, May 16th, fathomevents.com.
On AM 560, The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
I've been very happy with Balance of Nature. You know what the funny thing is, even when I'm tired, I feel better than I have in so long. I really haven't gotten colds. It's just been great. I've been very, very pleased. More energy. I think it really works. I really do.
Working out, losing weight, and even in the best of times, I can't eat that many vegetables, so it's nice to know I'm getting them.
My husband got a cold, but I didn't. So, hooray! Thank God for Balance of Nature.
It's time you had a Balance of Nature experience in your own life.
Call now. Accept and complete Dr. Howard's 120-day challenge to earn a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751 to begin your road to better health. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
We've all heard commercials where they chatter about how large their inventory is, how big their discounts are. Well, this is where the zinc meets your metal. Gatto Industrial Platers on Roosevelt Road in Chicago is home to North America's largest plating line. They can handle parts up to 27 feet long, weighing up to 8,000 pounds, including a production rack and barrel zinc plating line that can process up to 300 tons of parts each and every day. But Gatto Platers can also handle zinc plating of a small box of screws and all in between, with 24 to 48-hour turnaround service and a fleet of trucks all over Chicagoland. As their owner George says, Gatto is big, we're good, and we're easy to work with. Learn why George says what he says at GattoPlaters.com. That's GATTO Platers.com. Or call George at 800-290-1223. Gatto Platers, proud to sponsor AM 560's Feed the Children program. Find them online at GattoPlaters.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, you need a dog in your life, and I found the perfect one. There's 3 dogs that have arrived at a shelter. They're here in, Hillside at the Miracle Miles Rescue Shelter. And guess what? They came all the way from South Korea. And you know why? Because they were about to be eaten. I'm not kidding you. There's meat farms in South Korea, because I guess it's a delicacy to have dog meat.
Sure it is.
And they were being moved to a restaurant to be eaten. There was a family sitting there at the table waiting to chow down on dog. And these people from the Humane Society came in and rescued these 3 dogs. One's Chloe. He's a Mastiff. And I know you keep talking about a Mastiff.
Yeah.
So they have 3 Mastiffs there, and they're up for adoption.
Like President Obama, you know how I like my Mastiffs?
Oh.
With fries.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Special announcement. The Big Home Remodeling Expo, a free home show that's open to the public, is coming to the DuPage County Fairgrounds, May 21st and 22nd. If you're looking to remodel your kitchen, bathroom, basement, or maybe get a new roof, flooring, windows, or siding, then this is the event for you. At this 2-day expo, you'll meet local and national contractors